This is one where we all.
That's gonna come up with kills.
I got it. We got it. Bro. We're good. We're good.
So we want mine as well.
On me right. Come here. How are you losing that? Jesus, that's sad. Get a shit. You need to go get a job, man. Right here, hold it.
Oh my god.
Welcome in everyone to PUBG BLINDSPOT's NA Invitational, and it is Grand Final Sunday. My name is Gibson. I am joined with Whippet for what should be a brilliant night of action. Whippet, we had day one yesterday, the groups, but today we are getting into the nitty gritty to find out who will be our first PUBG BLINDSPOT NA Invitational champions.
I cannot wait to see how this gets done. Listen, we saw a very entertaining grand final over in EMEA a little bit earlier on for this one, and at the end of North America yesterday, I made a bold statement thinking I thought this region so far showing more promise. I might be backtracking on that one. Europe showed incredible growth over the night going into it, while North America has been strategically sound. Europe learned how utility works, and now I'm very intrigued to see how these final matchups tend to play out.
We did only get to see the best of the Americas yesterday. Super's team once who went flawless in the group stages. If we can bring up a recap of the action yesterday to see that leaderboard to find out how things went. But obviously with it, the top two teams were Super's team who went 5-0 on the day. And I believe it was Kickstart's team coming in second as those two teams got the buys.
Yes, they did going into it, and I think the biggest thing to look at is going to be the fact that Super's side went flawless from that. They went 5-0 going into that one, as we can see here. This one, Kickstart 4-1, Tekka 3-2, and well, a little bit of a scramble down for our last positions, 4th, 5th, and 6th, all finding themselves with that one victory. But it is obvious to look at this 5-0 undefeated record. The storyline I will build to you here, Gibson, is can they keep that flawless record rolling as we move into now best of threes and potentially for two of these teams a best of 5 later on today.
Well, there is no upper and lower bracket, so if Super's team wants to win the whole thing, they will need to remain flawless. And let's have a look at the run of show for games today. So the first two games, the two quarterfinals, will be happening simultaneously on our broadcast. We will have Team K-Mine versus Team Taran, while ongoing off-stream will be Tekka Gaming versus the Whelps. Well, but after that, the winner of K-Mine versus Taran will go on to play Kickstart Squad in the first of our semi-finals. And I'm going to ask you, do you have any early favourites to be the team that Kickstart's going to play?
Oh no, unfortunately for this one. Listen, I'm going to say this. I think the teams that earn their buys into the semi-finals are going to be going all the way to that grand final. I think it's going to be Kickstart versus Super making that entirely there. If I'm to be proven wrong, I'm incredibly happy for that. I want these teams to play incredibly good blind spot, but I just feel from what I saw in the matchup yesterday, it's going to be those two teams in that grand final, in that best of 5, and I cannot wait to see them go head-to-head.
Yeah, I cannot wait either. And let's remind the viewers at home what the prize pool for the teams that are playing today is. $2,000 for the winners, $1,500 for second place. The remaining teams all take a share of $750 each. But not bad. Just by participating, every single team member will get at minimum $150. But that 2K prize pool's a nice little pickup for a game as new as this one.
Okay, Gibby, let's be fair, right? 2,000 USD, that's a nice little thing to go in your back pocket. It's all about bragging rights. Of course, this is the second PUBG BLINDSPOT Invitational. You want to be able to have your name etched on a trophy at the very early stages of this game. And of course, as I mentioned, this game has just dropped on a demo on Steam. So if you want to get into the action yourself, you want to maybe be on this one, you can download that on Steam.
You can indeed. Well, the first of our best of threes quarterfinal one is about to get underway, so we're going to throw it to our casters, Mark and Falix.
Welcome back in. NA time, final day, final countdown. I think Whippet's right. You got to get in it to win it. Lion's share of the prize pool, Felix. But for some of these teams, it's the last opportunity to get through. Look, I like a best of 3 format. I think it suits the game really, really well. I also agree. I kind of might be backing the boys like Taran to get through. I think them and Gunnar going through, I think it's going to be a strong combo.
Well, I've seen your buys on the EU Invitational. I was expecting as much to be happening on the NA Invitational as well. But we're about to find out. First best of three, first semi-finals. After that great showing yesterday is about to commence. And yeah, in terms of predictions, I got to be honest, I'm kind of sticking with your buys as well.
They looked good yesterday. They did look good yesterday.
They did.
So those that obviously tuned in yesterday and they're back in today, we done best of ones yesterday. So there's 3 rounds, attack and defense, and obviously you have to get the crypt down. A lot more gun action I felt yesterday though, Felix. It was more about getting the kills in than it was getting the crypt down. Definitely in the EMEA region, I felt a bit of a change. I'm hoping the same here now for the NA, but we know the NAs like to pack a big punch. So it might be the case that we might see some aggressive early action again.
Well, incredibly experienced players on both sides, to be honest. I wouldn't rate any team particularly high than the other one in terms of, once again, esports experience. A couple of coaches here and there, a couple of variety streamers, and then we have a couple of esports professionals thrown into the mix. Valiate, one of the newest comebacks into the PUBG esports scene, for example.
Yeah.
Made his way back into our world's greatest IP. gaming IP, obviously. So happy to see him play here as well. Woody, obviously, he's been a long-standing coach in the PUBG esports scene. He used to play back when I played as well. It's been some time. Amazing guy. And obviously K-Mind, likewise. Same for Valiate as well. Made his way back. One of the biggest streamers back in the day. Essentially the biggest PUBG streamer, actually. And it's good to have him back. He's been welcomed with open arms. He's been one of the best players in the world back in the day. I'm sure you're going to see the same thing here.
Well, we're seeing at the moment a little bit of a slower breach coming through. It's a double up. Now we know friendly fire is a big thing here. So do worry. Stay low, but it's a double attack. It's a firing squad, and they put 2 down. The M249 annihilates 2 instantly, and the firing squad were disciplined. 1 took a knee, 1 stood over the top, and it was a force to be reckoned with. 2 down. Early engagement now. Here come the blue zone nades. A little dump from the smokes. They tried to clear off the rooms. Tyron's got the decrypt, so she has to just double check. Be careful as the nades will go through the door onto site A.
What a great start into this matchup. They know they want to be spicy from the very get-go. I think this is going to send some very strong signals towards Taryn and her team. They're not going out of this one without a fight. Some very interesting setups here at the very start that we haven't really seen over at the EU Invitational as well. And that's not just the very first round, ladies and gentlemen. Is going to, I think, for everyone, show us that.
Oh, no.
Never mind what I just wanted to say. That is nuts. Valier with a double blue zone takedown and the gas grenade launcher as well to take down Terran, who just about planted the decryptor. And just like that, it's just machine gun. Our last one standing is going to be taken down as well. Woody with the AK. AKA Carnival is going to be able to take down the last player standing. This is a clean first round coming in from K-Mind and his squad. And, well, gotta be honest, surprised even me at the very start of it.
Not even 1 down, unable, unfaltered execution plan to delivery. I kind of did like the fake though, from the guys that they chucked the util, they popped the smokes if they were going for the aggressor stance, and they dropped the shoulder and moved on in to the other plant. It didn't quite work out. Great double blue zone nade that came in, pinpoint accurate on that one. Got 2, backed off, and unfortunately down to Gunner to remain up for it. Second time round, we're still on the defending side. Haven't swapped over just yet, as the teams will force themselves out a little bit further. I do like the barbed wire. That's caused a lot of noise, especially with those windows. You've got the option to either jump onto the ledge and make sure you try and take him out, or go through and cause the noise and cause the damage. But it's definitely a really good tactic. A great bit of util just to really slow down the attacking force.
Really interesting. Usually, from what we've seen, especially in the EU Invitational so far, most of the players opt for nades, for blue zone grenades, for normal nades, for flashbangs. Now look at the team from K-Mind. It's barbed wires and barricades all around. No one's really picked up any util, any nades whatsoever. This is the first time we've seen this. And this might just give us a hint once more on how these teams have adapted coming into this day today, strategy-wise. They want to make full use of everything that PUBG BLINDSPOT has to give, and there's lots.
Yeah, I loved it. Loved the K-Mines putting out those sensors. We saw it in the last round. They even knew where they were, despite being on the other side of the blue zone nade. There goes the explosive damage. Not going to be able to take out both shields, only just the one, so able to get into one room. But there is Matt has got another angle if they do try to breach through. Now look at the back, the pingings going off from the sensors. Now have to get moved, but the back off from the gas grenades now as the guys are starting to breach their way around. Only one roamer, as Purdy Curdy is on his own. He's drawing in some guns and thought process, but the other attacking force though coming a little bit further afield, pushing the util into site A.
Good night towards Mbino. They're trying to make their way towards Crypt A, as you've said as well. But so far, nothing really seems to go that way. It's still a minute left, so they've got plenty of time. This is a good blue zone grenade. I think it's going to force Valiant into a different room at the very least, but he's been taken down to 30 HP as well. In the meanwhile, first player has been taken down from the attack inside. This is an important frag, especially since Cayman has been taken down to low HP as well. Valiant and Bino simply Matt. Everyone's been damaged to some degree. But matter of fact is, they've still somehow found their way into the B side. They've just ran out of it. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, why?
They've
Yeah,
literally
why?
stood on top of it, but I think they're confused there for a second. Either way, I think the decrypt plant is going to come through. Matt so far hasn't really found the angle on Terran.
Oof. Terran got away with it this time, though, but this time it worked in the favour. I think it was the fake. I think she went in first just to try and draw in those blue Z nades. Obviously, they did try to get the sound cue in. Now they've got the opportunity to break the wall. They've got the hold. The cross is not going to happen. Does get for one, looking for the second. Has to go for the breach. The wrap's coming around the other side, but it's too late. It's 2-0 up, though, as the defensive side will take the early points.
Really great play, and yeah, I didn't hear the plant, but yeah, that must have been a play, right? So even more insane that Valiant and Co didn't fall for it. There wasn't any utility being thrown at that point. I'm not sure if they just weren't able to, or if they actually did expect a fake plant to happen. I mean, that's why we have the POV streams, right? I gotta look back at that. That's crazy, though. If they actually did expect and anticipate that Terran was gonna fake plant and put the decrypt down, run out of the room and go back in, and then they throw the nades, that's crazy anticipation, I gotta be honest. That's complete outplay at that point, and it's gonna secure them a second round. 2-0. There's a good start. Just one more round now being needed.
I think it's more that she started, and you know, get that sound cue that comes in, and then it stopped. So they drew their attention back. Felt like the guys were just trying to have that one roamer, draw the guns in. There's always the opportunity to try and sneak in to that sort of site B and make the plant. Didn't quite work out this time. Let's see what they can do from a defensive side. We've now swapped over. Each round, don't forget, is going to be a best of 3, but the actual game itself will be decided in the best of 3. So, look, the guys have now swapped over. They need to make sure they get the defensive. They need to make sure both these next 2 rounds go in their favour and take it to the overtime point for this one. It's going to be key, I feel. The tempo of this round will be based on this first game, I found.
Wally, I think he's got somewhat of an idea where everyone's coming through. Interesting enough, Valiant, the one that usually is on the big lurking kind of place, even on the defensive side now, is grouping up with the rest of his team as well. Everyone joining themselves from the same exact side. Everyone is attacking through this northern side of the map right now. This is interesting. Something up. Once again, we haven't really seen happen, especially for that team that's usually so prone for individual plays. And just like that, I'm interested to see how it's actually going to work out. First contact, and Bino with a couple of shots, but Gunner hasn't been hit yet. So it's all back to a 5-on-5.
No, Purdy is going to deny that one. I love the jump across, though. Getting the information, knew where Gunner was. You could see Valiant pop the ping there. Drew in now, Purdy. Didn't move, didn't take any sound cues. Has to jump and dance as he misses down to 1 HP. He's going to get eventually found out. It's 4 apiece now as the defensive. They're going to have to continue to hold. Lucky enough for them, they've got the site. But actually, fair enough, though. Cayman able to pick up the decryptor. The boys are going to reposition themselves now. A bit of a bloodbath. Don't feel like it's a full strategy at the moment. They're trying to make the best out of what they can. Explosive grenades will go on towards site, but no clear path just yet. But they have picked up the decrypt. Now they're going to reposition as they get the opportunity now to pop on those meds.
Interesting. I like this. It's what I was originally going to say and notice as well in the very first round that we've seen. There isn't any medkit. There isn't any Fnatic in play so far for Terran and his squad, or her squad, excuse me. And that's going to make it tougher to reset in some of these rounds. Ooh, another great blue zone grenade. Terran, though, is going to find K-Mine. That's going to bring it back. Good push from Machine Goon, but he's not going to be able to take him down. Instead, Valiant is going to have the opportunity to get the crypt down. It's not going to happen, though. It's not going to happen at all. Adam and Terran is there in time. And just like that, it is the first round on the board as we head into round number 4. But this definitely could have gone either way.
That could have gone either way. I actually really like that we've seen shields being used for the attacking side. We saw it earlier in the EU tournament. We've seen it again in the NA. Anywhere you can kind of duck down and get that plant in is keys. 2-1. Obviously, as mentioned before, it is a best of 3. So, Taran and the team, they need to get another win here. They need to draw this back to 2-2 and then take it to the match point. But they're on the defensive side. Do I still believe the defenses are stronger? Yes, I do, to a degree. But part of me, especially watching the EMEA stuff earlier, some of the attacking forces, they were the early ones to get the points on. They were the ones to deliver the victory. But it looks like these teams here are going to try and prove us wrong yet again.
I think there has been a pretty clear correlation between teams being able to pick up attacking rounds and then actually taking the series home. Because as you've said as well, right, so far, up until this point, everything we've seen indicates that the defensive side is somewhat favored. Especially with some of these map layouts, especially in a map like this, I think where A and B is just so close to each other and you have somewhat of an idea relatively early on where the enemies are going to come from. I think that makes it all the more easier to defend, but I have to wait and see. So far, that point is indeed proven true. 2 defensive rounds have gone the way of K-Mind and 1 so far Terran, and these are all the rounds that we've played up to this point. Doesn't change the fact, though, that we do have match point for K-Mind and his squad. Let's see if they make it work. Lots of reinforcements right in front of them.
Love that, Willie. Getting the breach. Try and get a line of sight. There goes another one. Trying to get any more information to remain on site here. Not as much of a wider roam. Terran's team likes to stay closer to these locations. Here comes the smoke, comes through. Going to looking for the push through. Now going to try and catch the off angle as the blue zone nade will go back, counteracting that smoke, counteracting the opportunity to go down. Woody's down to 1, needs to maybe get the meds back on, but K-Mine's just about to deploy that down now. So that's the opportunity. Woody's going to have to take a bit of a breather and just get that med on. I don't think that blue zone is going to quite breach if it doesn't. Looks like he's going to be able to get back to full force.
Barricades being thrown down towards the A crypt. It's going to make it a pretty strong fort almost, a pretty strong position overall. That blue zone grenade, unfortunately, if that would have been thrown into the A crypt room, would have done a lot of damage, but not like that. Woody first contact is going to get traded out though. Purdy is there for a quick remembrance of what his team has really fought up until this point, but Mbino once again, with the quick trade as well, and so falling apart at this point. 2v1 and be the last man standing. He's got the MK14, but no utility whatsoever.
Yeah, and more importantly, Adam has pinged it, so he knows there's no need for them to move. They don't need to go hunt this one down, but it goes 4 rounds to the defensive side. We're going to swap back over. This is now match point, though, but it does go back in the slight advantage of K-Mine as they'll be back now on the defensive side of this match.
Good stuff so far from both teams. The only player that hasn't found himself any footing so far is, unfortunately, Machine Goon. And now that I remember, who is Machine Goon anymore? Who's he? Because that's not his actual name, isn't it?
No, I'm sure the desk will be able to update us after.
Disappointed.
I'm assuming
to remember these types of things.
I think it's Bun, but I don't know. I can't confirm if that's Bun,
Might be,
as in that's his. It's a troll account. If he's pretending to be the child of Gunner, this is the machine gunner. Maybe I don't know. I'm pretty sure it is Bun that is telling me in the back of my mind. Anyway, we get underway now. 2 seconds to go before we get the attacking phase coming in from that team. As K-Mine has set up. Very different here, though, Felix. Look how wide these spread the defensive.
Wow.
They refuse to stay close to site. And the offensive now coming from a completely different angle. Full stack up here. The team's going in as they were clear room by room as a solid 5-man force.
Lots of ambulances on the outside. Little do they know. All the action is going to happen inside any second now. Minute 50 to decide this first match, ladies and gentlemen. And it's been a tough road for K-Man and his team. They've started off with a 2-0 lead, and just like that, it's 2-2. They've brought it back. So far, no contact whatsoever in this round. Not a single utility bit has been used, except for barricades. You can see it on the other side of that wall. It's the very first one that might be of relevance. Shingun just seeing this other wall. I think he thought about cracking it down, and it's going to happen any second. Now, these are great mates. Oh, my lord, Adam. What was that? That is perfect. Pinpoint accuracy is going to take down Matt just like that.
wasn't even just pinpoint accuracy, it was a pin, and it was off the window, Felix. Not just one, but 2 impact nades. Sorry, nades going through to deliver that impact of damage. Blue Zone, they're going to go back on the defenses. The guys will scout their way out, but they gain some information as they do have that drone coming through. Willie has to reposition behind the boxes, behind the desk, and does find the opportunity to get some down, but it comes down from the MK that will deliver the blow. 4 for 4. 46 seconds left on the clock as it feels a bit more of a slower, but it's a high-risk game. Adam use that P90 to the advantage, but they've got to get a breach. Time is ticking out.
Wooly somehow finds himself that frag on towards Purdy Curdy, even though he was pushed out of the loser and grenade. That's a great pickup, if I might say so. Oh, he's not out of the run just now, especially now that Ambino is being fouled, and just pushes him down through the wall. He's going to be able to take him. Okay, man in the backline. It's already there for a quick lurk. It's going to take down Adam and make it a quick trade. That's going to be an important fight. Terran takes down Woody, though. This is really important now. Suddenly, Fairmine finds himself in a 2-on-1. He's going to bring it down to a 1-on-1, actually. And suddenly, it's just Gunner left standing as K-Mine looks for him. Pushes inside the ruins. Smoke right in front of him. This is far from over.
Look, K-Mine's got the P90. The P90 is going to hit pretty hard. Faking... No way he gets away with this. Jumps over. P90 should deliver it. He does. And K-Mine, will be taking match number 1. The shield was there. It stopped Gunner jumping in. Stopped Gunner delivering the big blow as he could hear the decrypt going underway. The defensive team win a game. That's 5 rounds, Felix. And not one of them going to the attacking side. It was all a clean sweep for the defensive teams.
Even the 3K from Adam in this round, 7 frags in total, just haven't been enough to counter that defense advantage, apparently, between these two teams at the very least. Because we've seen different kind of outcomes on that map as well, but at least not here. Crazy stuff, as you said. Not a single attacking round has been found, and that's going to mean, obviously, K-Mine, the ones that have started, is going to bring it home in overtime.
Well, they might have started. The desk is going to finish it up, though. Let's see what Gibson and Whippet have to say after game number 1.
Whippet, tell me this. As we look at that game, what impressed you most about the defensive displays?
Ooh, Gibson, the way I'm going to look at this one, I'm actually going to say the defense was nice and scrappy, but the offensive use of utility left me a little bit lacking going into it. Listen, I'm going to say this. Over in Europe, we saw a tremendous amount of offensive victory, somewhat going against the grain of our projections, saying that we thought it was going to be defense favored. North America, straight back to what we expected, defense favored going into it. So maybe I can get back to my roots of some North America, disagreement with their style of play.
One thing I will say that was really impressive was the post-decryptor plant utility usage by the defenders, right? We saw so many plays where they saved the utility for post-plant.
That last 1v1, going down inside the crypt, deciding, you know what, I'm going to go for this counter defuse, I'm going to stick a deployable shield down, give me some cover for that. That was perfect. That forces a bait in, because that forces you to commit deep around it, because you lose vision even outside that smoke crate. It was perfect. It worked so well. The big concern for me going into this one, though, is the fact that we didn't see a single offensive round victory. It's going to be a best of 3, so you have 2 more maps potentially to see how things play out, but it's just very scary when you don't have that footing on the offensive side. So if this trend continues, if you're starting the defense, you're going to have to bank those rounds, because if it's going to be scrappy on the offensive side, that's going to be a very scary feat indeed.
Would you argue that maybe these teams jumped the gun a little bit with getting the decryptor down? Because the decryptor did go down quite a few times. It's just they weren't really in the position to defend it once it did go down.
I think so, but getting yourself set up for a post-plant is incredibly important, Gibby, but we just didn't quite see that land for these teams.
We didn't see that land. So I'll ask you, before we jump back into the casters, we saw Team K-Mine win map 1. Do you think that they've got it in them to win the second one, or do you see a 3-map future ahead of us?
I'd love to see this go 3 maps, but my initial prediction, K-Mine's going to get this done in 2.
Well, that is the prediction. We're just waiting for all the signal to throw to the casters. Once we're ready, we'll get into the game. What I will say in this little second before we get started is, you know what? Actually, we're ready. Let's go now. Mark Felix, take us away.
Let's go now. damn right. Could it be a 3 potentially? I don't know. I just fear who's going to be on what side. Who's going to be the defensive side? Felix might be the one to take the victory. Hopefully it won't be the case, because that means we're going to have a full defense play, maybe up to the finals. But I like how both the EU and NA regions are playing this game slightly different at the moment.
Yeah, it's interesting points on the deck that have been made as well, right? More defense-heavy type of play, or at least outcomes. I wouldn't even say defense-heavy type of play. It's just the outcomes. And that's surprising to me, because usually NA is always the type of region where more individualism is coming in, more mechanical skill, even to some degree, or... I'll have to take that one back, actually, just as I said it. But at least more individualism, in the sense that they like to play... like to make a little bit more individual plays, ultimately. Damn, I almost threw my own region of the bus there. I actually can't believe I just said that. Either way, yeah, more individual plays, more clutch scenarios, just in total, more type of, initiative being taken in the midst of these rounds as well. I think we've seen this yesterday as well. I kind of want to refer back to Valiant and all these types of lurk plays. It's not just been Valiant, but he's just stuck in the back of my mind now. But he did that lurk all around the outside of the map and found himself while that fake was going on, I think it was a hospital, probably. And that's just one of the few examples but I said that's a big difference between NA and EU.
Well, we have to see. We do swap over. Talon Thim's going to be kicking things off in the defensive. I feel like this one is now, how do we break down a good defensive? And both of these teams, Felix, have very different styles. We have one team, Taryn's team, she likes to go pretty much on type. She keeps the troops close to the sites, right? Whereas I feel like K-Mine's team was happy to be spread out, claim as much territory as they could do, and then move themselves in, eventually closing down. I have to wait and see. Here come the pings from the team on the other side as they're looking to maybe get their breaches. The util now goes down, but this is what I'm saying. This team is not venturing out. They're staying really, really tight to A and B.
Really tight defense indeed. No one's really anywhere outside towards the outskirts, but you can see also the layout of the map is just a little bit different now, right? Woolies essentially just 2 walls away from actually entering that B crypt. So that's gonna mean you are kind of forced to take these positions almost. If you don't want to give away the crypt right away, you kind of just have to just sit on it and defend it from the position itself. Everywhere around Purdy Curdy is walled off though. It's going to mean at least a little bit more time being wasted here in order to break some of these doors. You can see it just behind Purdy Curdy. That's probably the first wall to get broken down. Another nade coming in from Mbino, but apart from that, no initial contact so far. Everyone's taking their sweet time. Once again, barely any nades on the defensive side. It's 4 barbed wires. A couple of impact grenades at most. And that's the first frag now going their way. It is 1 shotgun frag returned, though. That's Mbino falling to the ground.
Yeah, both blue zone nades also out. They have lost one as the angle did come through the window. And now repositions. The toxic smoke is going to clear. He has to be very cautious from behind. You got to remember, every time he makes the move, he is going to be heard up. Now he's going to hear moving his way around. Shotgun! No, doesn't even get the opportunity. The M4 shreds Gunner down. And it's looking like they are making a full play for B. Well, he's now going to go for the plant. They're now going to go for the skill. Using the util now to back away. But it's going to be a short-lived run. The attacking team have broke the hole. There's our first attacking wing. Have things changed up though? Let's see if they can do another one as clean as that.
That's crazy. Came out of match just single-handedly deciding that round. They didn't even need to get the decrypt down. They just hunted down that last player and were able to secure that first round. Great stuff coming in from the attacking side. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Switching things up. And as you said, right, first round on the board now. It's broken the script that we've so far seen on the NA side of things.
100%. Do they need to start maybe roaming, venturing out slightly? They need to figure out. I think giving the attacking team too much freedom to close in the gap, I think it's not going to work out. They need to mix it up slightly. No real change, though, on the character selection this time. do like they've got the shotgun. Didn't really get to use the side. Obviously, Adam needs to get down the meds. I think it's key as a defender to get those meds out now instead of being reactionary to how it sort of plays out. Storing the back pocket again. I could think it might be a bit of a short sighting. They're so eager to get the walls up. They're so eager to get the barbed wire down. I just feel like they get caught and trapped back in the corner at the moment.
It might be. Then again, it might be because of the very unusual setup that maybe they have just found an answer to. That barely any utility, except for obviously barricades and barbed wires, is being placed, is being used on that defensive side, on that team from Terran. And this isn't even changing in round number 2 here on this second map. They once again stick to that initial plan of only having 2 impact grenades, apart from obviously the unique gadgets. But at least what can be chosen is quite different to what we usually see in the defensive side, and especially when it comes to denying crypt plans. That's usually what you need utility most for, and that's just not there. So, interesting decision once again.
I think it's gone a bit early again, both sides in the blue zone. I think that's the second one done as well. Look, you're only really going to get one. For me, the blue zones are to get them, use them on the sites, ensure that we stop a bigger push, or you either are bottlenecked in the team. Has come out for the kill. That MP5 does pack a big punch, but it doesn't have a big mag. But it doesn't need it if you get 2 ducks back in. Has Purdy Curdy done his job, sort of making up from those BZ nades. Now we'll find a new position, as Woody has fully identified exactly where it is. You might be down, but you can still attack. You can still help into the team. And there's a double stack of a blue zone nade. I just feel like you naturally got to use as much util dump as you can. We've already know the nades are great. There's 2 that goes up. Big damage done. As Purdy now repositions, but he can't get the mag reloading in time. And Matt with the M4 makes drop down look so easy to use.
But look at this. It's both players being taken down to very low HP. Terran is actually going to be found by that nade. And if not for the medkit of Fnatic, he'd be down to 1 HP as well. Suddenly it's just Adam against Matt, and Matt is looking for that 4K now. He's dropped the decrypt on the crypt on the B side, so he's got that going for him. But apart from that, he's definitely not got the HP advantage. And arguably, depending on the situation, that we might see that first Firefly now come in. Not even the weapon advantage. First couple of shots being taken, and Matt is suddenly pushed towards that left-hand side now. Maybe the first defuse could be coming in. Matt peeks around the corner. Adam has to jump through. That's going to be the possibility to take him down. He does as well. Adam somehow makes it work. I thought there wasn't going to be a chance anyway in this round for him to be brought back after he jumped through that window, but he somehow still makes it work. What a performance. 1-1 is going to be the scoreline. And I mean, let's be honest, if that wouldn't have gone that way, that would have been, surely would have been that second match going their way.
Jeez, this is Sparta. Look, the P90, we know it packs a huge punch at close range. Adam knew that. He knew he had to try and find him. He peeked out. Matt released half a clip, though, of the M4. That was at the distance that simply needed it. He needed to remain in the fight at that time. But it wasn't the case. He had to go back. We liked the fake defuse as well, as it sort of drew Matt a little bit closer. As a result, he was able to go in over the window, not too far away, and clutched it up. That was the fight that he wanted. He needed it at that range, and he put it back 1 apiece. Now he resets, as we now get the opportunity to swap over the sides. Let's see what the guys from K-Mind can now do from a defensive point of view.
For the very first time, we're seeing heavy barricades now being put into play from the defensive side, from K-Mind's team at the very least as well. I think they've played us heavily with barricades before. At least I don't remember that being the case yesterday. So I think that's been a tiny change too. Look at this, the second time they've tried this trap. Double stack. And one of the very earliest choke points you could potentially find yourself an enemy. And it's ruling them being on the other side again. They have to be careful. Look at this, Adam somehow expects it. He somehow knows there could be someone on that opposing wall side, and that is going to give them the confirmation. That's great play coming in. Good use of Heinz. This is one of the first times we've seen him being put to use in the early game as well.
I've not really seen Heinz yet. Why have we not seen Heinz? You get an idea, you have an inkling, you have the thought process, the sixth sense that someone could be lurking around the corner. Oh, use a Heinz. He'll get rid of it. Nades being used. I actually really like the early util dumps as well. They're kind of clearing areas. They know where people are sitting. They're starting to learn the maps. And this is great. It's the second invitational, right? We're still learning the game as we learn to move forward. Well, the thing we already have learned is that MP5 Felix is pretty big impact. Blue Zone Nade for Blue Zone Nade. Does get one. Scrap that. There's two that will fall. One on either team, though, as the Blue Zone Nade packs the punch that it needed.
It's crazy. Valier, time and time again, he seems to really have these Blue Zone grenades figured out because he keeps finding frags with it. I think that must have been a third, maybe fourth time already, easily in this series alone, that he's finding himself frags. With the Blue Zone grenade alone, this is a good boost as well. K-Mind on top of the barricade. Shoots over the top of the barrels right in front of him and takes down the decrypt planter. That's nuts. And just like that, they win the round as well. That's deserving, though. What a boost coming in from K-Mine. That's nasty. That is crazy. I mean, this game hasn't even launched and they're finding things like this.
It's like, give these guys like half a chance on the map and they're going to find every little sneaky angle they can. But these guys are pro gamers, though, Felix. They want to be able to win, right? They know that a little advantage like that is not going to be fought off. Now watch the next team use exactly the same trick against them. 2 for 1. Match point on towards K-Mine. They kicked off the evening pretty strong. They'll be looking to secure this one. This will give them the victory to the next stage. They will be moving on if they can secure this. This is obviously the defensive setup now. They're going to move themselves up. But yeah, again, we find them. They are spreading away from sight. They are putting not just the U2 and the traps further afield, but even the barricades. They're not remaining just close to the sites. They want to lock off. They want to bottleneck the team from Taran as they move in. Here we go. Potentially final round from them. Taran's team needs to dig deep now and secure a victory, drawing it to their match point.
Let's see if that's going to happen. First contact might just happen after the very first wall again. Look at this, Cayman and Abino with a very aggressive position once more. First nade is going to deny Abino on that first initial peak, but he's continuing to stay there, and I think it's a pretty good crossfire as well. Cayman and Abino with a little bit of risk as well. They're kind of gambling on someone going that way. But just like that, they have actually fallen back indeed now. And instead, it's going to be Wooly and Valier potentially with the first pickup, but it's a couple of shots back and forth. Good impact grenade, almost would have done massive damage. They were right next to each other. Second one hits, though. Party being taken down below 50 HP. This is a good start for K-Mine's side, and they just need that one round now.
They do.
Oh, beautiful.
This is insane with the M4. There's been a couple of people. Michael, we've dropped down. Tyres were dropped down. They are the key delivery of the Hellbringer of the M4. K-Mine does drop down. The util gives the information now, gets the crypt into sight as well. They now need to hold to take this one forward. It's all falling apart. It's down to one final player. Adam's got a big hill to climb. Now he delivers one with the headshot. Looking to find some more information. Knows he's got players behind him. He's got to scout through, but time, unfortunately, Felix is not on his side. But the MP5 is. He takes it down to a 2 versus 1. But surely we've got to add the clock as a contender that's going to run him down.
Absolutely, just 40 seconds now for Adam to make something work, to get that 4K. He's found 2 already. It's not beyond him, I think, for a player of that caliber to make something like this work, but it would probably be the biggest clutch that we've seen in the Invitational up until this point. Good nades now, more utility being thrown. That means just one blue zone nade left standing, left to use. And now he needs to make that move. Monitor is already there. He walks into the trap, and K-Mine is going to find him. Takes him down. Quick headshot to finish off map number 2. And it will be K-Mine and his squad taking that one.
Well, It's a 3-1, aka a 2-0. I'm punching a ticket through to the next stage in the semi-finals. Really good matchup and very different game styles even from a defensive point of view. If you look at both these teams, they are playing the game very, very differently. I do like Fence at the end though, the ability to drop out the util, and I felt like they were holding back. K-Mine's team was holding back the ability to drop util. They wanted to use it at the right time, and it worked out for the win. Well, that's it from us on this one. Let's throw back to the desk. I'm sure they got a lot to say.
Thanks, guys, and that is that. Your first quarterfinal done and dusted. A quick 2-mapper for K-Mind as they move on to the first semi-final. But we finally saw an attacking round 1 in map 2, and you gotta say it, K-Mind's team looked like they upped the levels just a little bit going into that second map.
They did. I have a feeling that maybe my criticism of the lack of offensive victories in the opening map was more of an issue of getting things warmed up and ready in this matchup. They looked a little bit more clued in for this one. Big storyline for me, though, is going to be that 2-0 victory. And K-Mine, they just look to be in complete control of everything. The big thing I'm going to love about that is how they played that final round. They have the decryptor down on the ground, and they just played a beautiful crossfire on it. Didn't come into play because the last survivor was so far away, but they had everything set up beautifully for it. And I feel like that understanding the strategy needed is getting better and better from it. And we did notice one thing, by the way. Zen, whoever was on Zen, was able to get a grenade launcher kill. First time that we've seen that this weekend long.
Yeah, first time we saw it. Whenever it happened, I double took. I was like, okay, was that a Zen utility kill? It was. I will ask one question though, Whip. 23 seconds were left on the clock. The quad wall into sight was solid. The decryptor was not in the hands of the attacking side. Did Adam get a little bit too aggressive by extending out and trying to hunt the kills instead of just playing the clock and trying to get one kill and fall back?
Oh, it's difficult, right? When the decryptor is down and you got no access in towards site, it's not a lot you can do realistically in that position. Hunting the kills is probably the best decision to make out of it, and it's what I'd call it a dilemma, right? A problem, you can solve that easily. A dilemma, there's multiple outcomes, all equally kind of bad for it. We look at our bracket for this one. Gibson diving straight into it. As K-Man get that victory, they'll be facing Kickstart in that semi-final going into it. Gibson, how are we feel about this bracket lining up?
I think again, there's no surprises. I expected K-Mine's team to win that first quarter final, so they'll take on Kickstart's in the first semi-final. I feel like Kickstart's team will have the edge on that one just because of the way that they played yesterday and showed that they were kind of levels above the rest of the opposition except for Team Super. The other side of the bracket, Whippet Tekka Gaming, they're beating the Whelps. I'm not surprised at that scoreline either when you consider how things went for the Whelps yesterday. But if Tekka Gaming go ahead and win that one, do you think that one will be easy for Super, or do you think there could be maybe some upsets coming ahead?
I never want to say a matchup's going to be easy just because you never know what can happen in a matchup like this. A game as fresh as this, but what we saw coming into it, I do feel that Super side's going to be a little bit more, I think, prepared for the circumstance ahead of them when we move in towards this best of 3. Tekka side, of course, is going to have that chance, and I never say never in a matchup like this, but so far, my prediction for a grand finalist is still on track.
Yeah, the top 2 in NA did look levels above the rest of the competition, as we saw again yesterday. Super's team won 5 of their games, Kickstart won 4, and the only game that Kickstart lost was, of course, that matchup against Super. But looking kind of forward to the rest of tonight, it is best of 3s. We've had 1 2-0. There's the potential of a 2-0 in the other one. Europe was very 2-0 centric up and all day long. I think one game went 3 maps. The rest of it was clean sweeps. Do you think NA is looking like it's going to be the same today, or do you think there'll be some differences?
I feel like it's going to be a very similar script. I expect the matchups actually to be a little bit more towards that 3-1, 3-0 status going into it. Now, my reasoning is this. I do feel that the peaks and valleys in North America have shown to be a little bit, I think, larger inside of Europe. I think Europe is a little bit more condensed to each other. The teams are there, but the ceiling isn't as high here in North America. We saw Superside, how good they were. We've seen how good Kickstart's team is. I think those are the best teams that we've seen all weekend long across both our regions. I just feel that when we go into it, the valley's going to be shown a little bit, and I think 3-0s, 3-1s is going to be a storyline that we see all today.
Yeah, and just for the people who are watching, if you've just joined us and you're wondering what this is, of course, PUBG BLINDSPOT, a new game being developed by the PUBG team. This is the demo version of the game. It is available for you to download and try for free on Steam. If you like what you see, make sure to wishlist it so you can keep up to date with when the game launches in full. But I will say this, Whippet, for a demo, the fact that there's 2 playable game modes in it already, you know, obviously Demolition and Team Deathmatch, I'm pretty impressed because a lot of games at the demo stage are nowhere near as kind of refined as this is for the stage of its development.
I agree with you for that one. Also, the fact that we're going into this demo stage and it is on. Right, I'm going to say this, right? We've been casting this all weekend long. I've dove in for a few games myself. It has got its claws in. This perspective, this style of game from an isometric point of view, it's calling to me, Gibby. It's itched, it's scratched and itched. I didn't know I had it in my brain, and it has been fantastic. I guarantee if you give this game a shot on the Steam, if it's demo available right now, you will have that same feeling too.
It's like the first Red Bull before a broadcast. Like, you're like, do I need it?
Nondescript energy beverage.
Oh, nondescript energy beverage. Nondescript beverage. It's like the first nondescript energy beverage, right? It's like, do I need this? And you take it, and you're like, yeah, I need this. I need this. This is what I need a lot of in my life.
That is shocking from you that you didn't even use the classic terminology for this, Gibson, going into it. We can take a look at our bracket yet again as we get ready for things as Tekka Gaming get that victory up against the Whelp. Still be facing Super Side in our second semi-final of the day. Big thing is, of course, we haven't mentioned yet on today's show, of course, the side of Super consisting of a lot of former professional players of a game of a very similar genre that myself and Gibson come from. That multiverse of playing, so I think they might have a significant advantage as we move in this one. Tekka Gaming added to your bracket there. They're one step closer to potential grand final glory.
Yeah, and as you see, it is live and updated, so we've got our 2 semi-finals locked in. Game 1 will be the next one on the broadcast, Kickstart versus K-Mind, a best of 3, followed by Super versus Tekka Gaming, another best of 3. And if you're watching, if you make it to the final, the prize pool increases exponentially for you. $2,000 for the winner, $1,500 for second place. Everybody else gets $750 each. So these 2 semi-finals are worth quite a bit of money for these players. But like you said, Whippet, bragging rights will be really big. But we're going to throw this one over to the casters as they take us into our first semi-final.
Oh, here we go. Semi-final underway. Just trying to remind myself, Alex, actually how close it is. Well, Kickstart, obviously, team came through from second. I remember the game was pretty tight, but Kickstart's team has a very different approach to the game. They've been very sneaky when it comes down to how they push and play. And don't forget, we've already seen Kickstart. I feel like his team on the first Invitational was the one that we kind of saw the smoke plants coming up first, and they were providing the cover. They were locking off teams. I kind of feel like we're going to expect that again from him. But don't forget, obviously, they've not warmed up fully yet. They've not had to play. This is their first time that they're in a best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, even K-Mind's team coming to this day trying new things. I think we haven't seen as many barricades and as few utility yesterday, so I think even that is somewhat of a change. So if they're the ones to change things, I think K-Mind Kickstart and his team is definitely going to change something. I think you're probably on the right track. I think if they've learned their lessons from the games that we saw yesterday, even maybe potentially from them watching the Invitational, I saw Roth, for example, in the chat there as well, then surely they have as well. So that's what ultimately I'm excited for as well. A couple of new boosts is what we've seen as well that maybe we have to take a look out for. I'd be curious to see if Kickstart and these guys are prepared for stuff like this, and if they aren't, maybe we'll have another upset at our hand, because I think, as you said as well, I think Kickstart and his teams should probably still be having the advantage going into this one.
Yeah, Roth was sneaky, getting the EU tactics. It's going to be the way. But it is good. It is good to see. I do think you're right. I do think we're going to see some different styles of game plan. Obviously, this on the new map, the shopping mall A. I do like this one. This gives us the longer corridors that you might see. And we definitely saw early in the EMEA stuff when it came down to Buddy being used. Now, the Buddy obviously has the drone as well. It has the sniper rifle, it has the drone. This time, though, we see both teams haven't gone for a droning option here, Felix. No Hines, no Buddy here. We've got obviously the standard defense here with Cowboy, where he's gone for collision, and the fence seems to be a regular showing now for a defensive lineup.
That's interesting. Look, I was saying it's going to be interesting to see if they are going for as many barricades as Cayman and these guys have, and the answer is definitely no. We have 3 impact grenades on Kickstart, Rello, and Roth. And I think that's probably the best case for these guys. I'll have to wait and see, but I feel like it is, as I've said before. Right, I feel like these guys rely on individual skill a little bit more, on direct contact a little bit more than maybe Cayman and these guys do. I feel like they play a little bit more strategic, a little bit more thought out. Doesn't mean they play better, it's just a different type of play. And whether or not that is going to work, we'll see in a minute. Matt should probably find... What is happening? A free frag. I was going to say a free frag, but somehow he doesn't. Cowboy's going to trade him out. How did that happen? And Bino's there for the trade, though, but with the MK14 and him down to 10 HP, he's not even going to get another shot off before Rod takes him down. So that lurk has now worked perfectly as well.
Nice.
He's about to get a second one. Isn't even
days.
needed. Kickstarts. Absolute Kobe. Takes down Woody. 2v4.
Insane. Another one coming back, though. Trying to get underneath. Don't get the first one. Does cause the damage. The shield blocks the counter Kobe underneath. There goes the blue zone there. Cowboy should be able to back away. Oh, mate. Rough with the M4 shots across the corridor to corridor, completely exposing the angle. That really forced him into that corner. Now the U2 have to go forward, but Kickstart and the team have got the decryptor behind him. They don't need to move. They just need to lock it down. Cowboy will fall. There comes another blue zone nade coming through. Going to have to reposition himself. Kickstart's got the shield though, but just wait for the smoke to clear. Toxic will come through, but it's going to be a clean victory as Roth works his way around. M4 delivers though, and the first one goes to the defensive line of Kickstart.
Great first round. And to no one's surprise, another round being picked up by the defensive side of things. I think especially on this map, we haven't really seen the attackers be too successful, unfortunately. There's very few choke points, and that's going to make it tough for the aggressors to really get on towards the crypts. Have the advantage, obviously, for the defensive side then. You can see just essentially two big choke points, one of which is, or at least three, but one of which is just a crouch entry, which, let's be honest, makes it almost impossible to get an entry on. And then it's just two doors. And even getting that, you have to pass so many other walls, so many other players, essentially, as well. Meaning it's definitely going to favor the defensive side, at least up until this point. We'll see. Maybe someone is somehow going to crack the code. Someone's somehow going to find a smarter way of playing this map. So far, that hasn't really been the case.
I do like this map though. I do really like it because you can tunnel, you can make really strong choke points for a defensive lineup, really forcing the attackers into an area you want to. You can kind of see that lineup from the boys from Kickstart. They've kind of left the pass as they will now run the maze. Will they be able to have enough bodies at the end of the maze to be able to get the crypt in situ? They're in. The sound cue's already happened. They've already cleared multiple, but I think the boys know exactly where they are. Kickstart on one side. Kobe will go through, won't cause the damage as Cowboy will be there. They're going to try and breach their way through, and the trap is starting to unfold. Reload waiting for the peak as he knows that's now gone through. They can see the sensor mark, but they've got to figure it out. That window on the right-hand side is going to cause them some issues, and that's why we've seen Cowboy reposition again. He's waiting to see heads move on past.
Couple of good nades. Unfortunately, not really any damage done towards Rello. He's still left with 100 HP standing just across the room. Oh, that would have been almost would have been perfect from Valley 8. Almost have had the perfect timing. Instead, it's going to be Matt, though. Suppressed with a quick double, though. It's going to shut down K-Mind and Woody at the same time. And we've seen Benz come into play so very often and be so impactful. It's not going to change here either. A third frag actually going to suppress his way now. Make that a 3k, potentially even a 4k. He still doesn't have to reload somehow. But down to 1 HP. I think it might just look like he's going to pick himself up a quick 4k here in round number 2.
Suppressor's not even reloaded yet at all. A quick reaction now. I like how close the guys are as well. It was, look, for K-Man's breach across towards 8, it was looking good. They cleared, they pushed back, they used the util. It forced then the defensive side on towards those corridors. They've lost a couple of bodies and it was a bit of a bloodbath. But I will say with Kick's team, they're never that far away from each other. They're ready to turn, spin on a dime and put the bullets down the chamber, forcing the players to go down. And unfortunately for them, able to bag themselves a 2-0. One more point, a match point here for Kickstart as they'll swap over for the attacking side. Let's see what they can do as K-Mine's team now need to set up their defensive game plan.
Duo. Big pressure now for K-Mines and his squad. They did make it happen in the series before. They were down 2-0 and brought it back. This time around, though, I kind of want to say it's going to be a little bit tougher than the last time. With Kickstart and his squad, especially in this map. Looking really solid up until this point. But then again, we also said, I keep coming back to this point, that attacking on this map does seem to be the toughest out of all the maps that we've seen.
I really like that little clear of the top of the barricade. Elliot will be ready to maybe launch over the util dump if needed. But it does work both ways. Having the back away now, I feel like the shield is going to cause more issues than what it's worth. Let's to jump over towards the other side. Reposition now with the breach coming from the second side. Now we are seeing the drones working their way through. Cowboy will unfortunately fall. Slight trade out though, as K-Mine able to deliver the M249. But Kickstart's team getting blown apart. They got 3 remaining. Oh mate, that's a 3-on-2 now. The numbers go back in their favour. Maybe they're able to piece apart. K-Man's going to find a double stack of a blue zone nade. He just gets away in time, but no! It's a victory, though. Kickstart team will put the first point on their board of the semi-finals. They knew the game plan. They executed it well, and they're able to do it with a 3-0 victory.
Great performance coming in. 4 frags from Kickstart, but make that 7 unsuppressed. I mean, we saw that 4K in one of the rounds as well. Massive, massive performance coming out from these guys, and deservingly so, picking themselves up the very first round here. Yeah, honestly, it's been dominant from start to finish. I don't even know what to expect in the next one.
There's a reason why they were in second, FedEx, and there's a reason why we're going to throw back to the desk. Gibson, whip it, take it away. There's a lot to be said about Kickstart's team.
Well, it is hard to suppress a good player with it, and suppress could not be suppressed. 7 kills in that 3-0 win in the first map.
To do that with only 3 rounds played is fantastic, but Gibson, from, I think, start to finish, as it was mentioned there in the cast, it was complete and utter domination. They looked to be in control from the outset of that matchup, and I'm going to say this, I think they showed why they're in this semi-final, why they got the bye to this point. Kickstart side, they look to be unstoppable right now.
They looked really good, and I think it just comes down to understanding of the flow of the game again, right? Understanding what you need to hold, what you don't need to hold on defense, what is irrelevant, and then understanding on attack how to create lanes and entry points in towards site to get that decryptor down. They did an excellent job of it, and when a game is as new as this, the team that gets the understanding of how a map should flow and how utility should be used the quickest is usually the team that'll take advantage of it.
They were able to utilize the map best as possible just to make things very difficult, get that initial map control, and they played into that, allowing them to take those advantageous gunfights at the right moment. I was very, very impressed from start to finish going into it. I think, again, your expertise in PUBG coming into it, I've come from a background where this style of game is my forte. It was a level of understanding of rotations, movement, being able to play in the pocket with your teammate to have that effect. It was incredible use of that utility yet again. I am very, very impressed from this side. The only question is are they going to be able to keep that momentum rolling as they get into this second map going into it? Because, I mean, listen, a 3-0 victory in a best of 3 like this one, you've got to really feel confident going into your next map.
Yeah, I think they will. And when you look at the team lineup as well, you've got Kickstart, who, again, is one of the best PUBG players in North America. Like, there's very few question marks around that. But they are going to try to get a second one under wraps. So we're going to go ahead and throw this one back to the casters as they will talk us through whether or not Kickstart will be able to do it in 2.
One of the best players in the year. That's a big statement there, Gibson. A big statement from the region. But let's see, can they do back-to-back? Can they close her out and punch their ticket to the finals? Well, it's in their hands. And it looked convincing, though, FedEx. They did kick things off pretty well.
Yeah, look pretty strong. Then again, I feel like we haven't really seen K-Mine's team all that much in that first match, right? Not as much as I'd hoped for, especially on the defensive side. They just got completely overwhelmed. Who knows? Maybe if they pick up the first defensive round, maybe we actually have a game at our hands. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Let's hope it's not going to turn out the same way here in match number 2. This time around, they will have the advantage starting on the defensive side, which once again seems to be a recurring theme.
The recurring theme as well is fence, fence, fence. Oh my God, the M249, it does pack a big punch. And I think it's part and parcel. It doesn't have to reload for at least 2 or 3 rounds either. Just set up and wait and watch. But they do have the advantage. They are on the defensive side. Another big trend which we're seeing here, definitely more in the favour for the NA Invitational. I'd find the defensive getting the earlier points, getting the early victory, and maybe they will be securing the points from here. Let's see if obviously K-Mine can deliver that, or maybe Kick can prove me wrong. The EU I felt earlier on today, FedEx, was maybe, was it 50-50? Maybe a 60-40 still for the defensive. There was a huge chance that if a team had the game plan down or knew how to push the buttons of the other team, they were able to get the victory from the offensive side.
Most definitely. Especially if you have players like Kickstart has on his team. Morley's going to be the first one to be spotted out. Even the Heinz, wow, even the Heinz gadget towards the end of the room to absolutely solidify that Woody has to leave that room and he's going to be caught at the very next one. Unfortunately, 4K man in his squad. That's not how you want to start things. No one there to back him off as well. No trade, no nothing. First man advantage on the attacking side now for Kickstart.
Yep, I love this. Heinz breach first, wiggle jiggle, make sure he gets the camera in right. Then comes the util dump. They're pushing him now back off B. Don't know if they picked up K1. They have. They pinned him. There goes the nade. He's down to 1 HP. They're going to overload this one. Flood through. Oh, nearly the blue zone nade gets the damage, but the MK suffers the blow first. Blue zone will have to now clear the smoke store in play, but they've got to get the defense up. It's a 2 versus 3, but the blue zone nade forcing him away, and Rello's going to pack it. He gets it down. It's a solo player remaining. Surely smokes will come out. Surely the plant will go. But they've got 50 seconds left on the clock to find 1 solo remaining.
That's got to be retribution for all the times Valiate has been taking down players with a blue zone grenade. In this round, he's unfortunately fallen to 1.
This is bullying. That's brilliant.
That's just comeback if I've ever seen one. Great stuff coming out from Cayman and his squad. That's a very solid first round once more. Let's be honest, at least, I mean, up until this point, I would have very much believed that K-Man could bring it back on match 2, but start off like this again, that dominant, that controlled, that solidified, especially with, I think it was Wooly being caught off guard at the very start of it, that's definitely going to make it even tougher. And once again, they are starting on the attacking side.
You say Kick's team's got a good defense. I say Kick's team's got a good defense and offensive. They find the chink in the armor, the weakness to be exposed. If you're left out from K-Mine's team, maybe you've got to take a leaf from Taryn's team and consolidate a little bit more back down to side, because some of the Romans, they are isolating the individual players very aggressive. But K-Mine's team doesn't, I don't even think they know where the sites are. They're off, they're roaming around the map, they're claiming their own little bedroom to make their bed. Let's see if they can get a victory. They've got to get one back here. They've got to bring it back to level playing fields.
And without chances potentially now to make that happen indeed. First bit of wall being destroyed. A door to be exact. And there's 4 players on the other side. Valiate takes a nade right to the face. That is great stuff coming out from Suppress again. He's been having such massive impact on that very first match. This time around, he's changed around the agent, changed around the character, but it might not matter. A good crossfire has been set up here, but Woody still being caught off guard. That might just be the second frag. Yes, it is. Woody, Valiant both go down. Very, very good play once more from Kickstart, but there is still a couple of shots being fired back, and that's Matt with 2.
Yeah, 2. 2 from the gas grenades. Man's able to get the defensive slightly back. He's relying on maybe someone's pushing in, doesn't quite know. So he does launch out those impact grenades. No more gas launches for him. No more impacts. He's got to go down head-to-head. And the K-Mine did go down. I can't remember K-Mine putting down the ability for those med kits. So might have to try and hold the angle, pray that he'll get the first drop shot on at the moment. But they're down bodies, they're down a point. It's a 3 versus 2. They have the decryptor in hand. They got 50 seconds and they're making the push now for B. Here comes Heinz. He knows there's no one's lurking behind that barricade. He's going to pop the smoke here. Now they're going to maybe to make the push for it. They're going to pop out on the other side using the Heinz one more time. Blue Zone Edge going to come out. I don't think they've quite picked up Matt. Matt's got his way through. Matt nearly going for it, but nearly getting the side swipe's not good enough because they'll be able to Blue Zone Nade effective. It's a 2-0 at the moment as we'll go swap on the sides.
Crazy. It's a 2-0 on the attacking side of that as well. That's not to be underestimated. How big of an advantage that is now going into the next side. Very rarely have we ever seen teams lose this. I don't think we've ever seen this happen, actually, that a 2-0 lead on the attacking side still results in overtime. I'd be surprised if that were the case here as well. Rella with a 4-0 scoreline, definitely leading the charge here for Kickstart's team.
I think you're right. I think we saw one attack, then it was a 1 defense. It was like 1 apiece for most of them. Wow, Kickstart team looking well. I think the big question, we're going to have to maybe ask this back to the desk, is Kickstart's team has already fought against Super, and if Super clear their way through, has Kick's guys gone back, done the research? Well, we know Roth has because he was in our stream earlier watching, but does he know what the game plan is going to be? Here we go, match point up here for Kickstar. Are they going to get another 3-0 and punch their ticket through in the best of 3 into the final, get themselves in the talking points for the lion's share of the prize pool? Cowboys waiting, watching. He's going to pop up and shotgun will go down. The first kill was a surprise attack from Cowboy.
Crazy. Really crazy stuff. Which is why we haven't really seen that character have too much impact. That's thrown out the window now. He definitely is. Has the opportunity for a second frag as well, but Matt is not going to go down just as easy. He's definitely been leading the charge for K-Mine's team as well. They need him. They need him now. They need him to step up. And he unfortunately can't do so. That's another one shot coming in from Cowboy. And just like that, it's 4v2 again. This looked like it's going to be a quick 2-0.
Roth runs through with the M4. Woody is the final player. He's going to do everything. A huge mountain to climb. Take shots in the back, but Roth delivers. It's a defensive win. It's a 3-0 done and dusted. Punch your passport ticket because Kickstart team is going to the final.
Great stuff all around. I think they've just been dominant from the start. Let's be honest, there wasn't a chance for Cayman in this matchup, which is a surprise to me because just as many pro players on that team as there is on the other side. And, well, unfortunately, that still wasn't enough. Very much solidifying themselves as the favorites going to the finals, in my opinion. K-Mine squad, unfortunately, going out with this one. But yeah, once again, Kickstart. They're just looking on fire right now, and I'd be surprised if they're not having at least a fighting chance in the grand finals that we're about to see as a best of 5.
Well, it is the best of finals for them, but we do have one more semi-finals up for grabs. Let's throw it back to the Desto. Gibson and Whippet, tell me how good Kickstart was.
Speed run PUBG blind spot, any percentage for Kickstart, a dominant 2-0 victory with it. Kickstart side looking great, but again, it's just down to understanding the fundamentals of how the game should be played.
They understood those fundamentals, but they were also just so clinical when it came to their gun skill. I'm going to look at that last round, for example. The confidence of Cowboy just to swing out wide with that shotgun, find that pick. You heard Mark's reaction for it, and I think that sold the story of it. They mechanically were an incredibly gifted team, and they just understood how to manipulate the map, how to flow, how to move it. Big thing in the early rounds of this matchup as well. Just that Wolfpack mentality that we saw Super's team do, who'll be playing in our next semi-final. Always swarming, playing together. If you lose one person or someone within that golden window of 3 seconds to get that trade back, they played very effective with it. Whether utility usage was good but basic, everything to me is about their fundamental positioning and how they use their gun skill to win those fights. Expertly done, and this grand final that they've now punched their ticket to is going to be fantastic by the fact that they are in it.
Well, no upsets yet. The next game on the cards will be Super's matchup against Tekka, which I think could be a little bit tighter, or maybe not. We'll find out pretty soon, but we're going to jump into a quick break. When afterwards, we'll have a bit of a talent swap. We'll see you guys in a few.
This is one where we all go like that bottom area and I hold the window.
Or we're all main gate, and then
Yeah.
and you
Good! Down, shit! How are you losing that? Jesus, that's sad. Get a shit. You need to go get a job, man, or you're holding it.
Oh my god.
Just leave it at this point.
Oh, welcome back. Here we're going to swap the roles as we will keep Felix, though, guessing what's going to happen next. Look, we got to put Gibson and Whippet to one side because we've got one of our semi-finals done and dusted. We need to get the next semi-final ready. And Super, he stormed with his team to a clean victory yesterday, not even taking a loss. Is that going to be the continued trend here as he has to take on Tekka Gaming?
Oh, we're about to see, but let's be honest, with how Kickstart has performed today and how dominant they have been yesterday, I expect the same thing to happen for Super, because they were the only team able to beat Kickstart yesterday, and so far, no one has beaten Kickstart either. Not even close. It's just been a clean storyline against K-Mind as well, so, I mean, let's be honest, this shouldn't be a problem for Super.
I feel like we're getting super competitive now. I jumped in the streams. A lot of these players and the content creators are live as well, guys and girls, so go check him out. And it was Tactical, Roth, and the guys. They're now muted their streams. They're watching. They're taking notes. They might as well jump on the analyst desk with us here because it is going to be an intense battle. Kickstart and his team's already punched himself through to the final, and it was a convincing victory for them. They now have got to figure out how they're going to take apart the game plan now between Super and Tekka Gaming. I kind of got to feel like if you've got a 5-0, you might be one of the stronger contenders. Tekka Gaming, unfortunately, has already had a bit of a warm-up. We've had some warm-up, though, from casting, but it is time to warm up Gibson and Whippet. Look, guys, take us into the second semi-final. Round number 1 will be coming up. See you guys in a few.
Thanks, guys, and it is time to kick off our second semi-final, a best-of-3, separating Super from a flawless run to the finals. But in their way is Tekka Gaming Whippet. The Brazilians are back today. 2-0 victory early on. And you know what? They want to do it for Brazil.
Of course they do. They've got that national pride for it. But I'm going to say this. I think getting over the mountaintop of Super's roster is going to be an insanely difficult task indeed. As we get ready for this one, we're going to be diving straight into it. Any expectations on the bat from this one? Except for the fact that we're going to be seeing 10 deployable barricades brought out by our defensive lineup. And again, what we've seen from the character selection, yet again, expect this to not rotate away from the offensive team of Super. See, Super swapping off those. Super was enjoying playing Fnatic a lot yesterday. Aggressive. Actually, no, he's back on it. My misreading that. Apologies for me. Speeds are on Carnival. Super's going to be back on Fnatic. He's going to be enjoying that P90 in combination with those med kits to help shore up his team in case they take those early engagements. We're diving into Shopping Mall for our site of choice, or for our map of choice going into this one. Expectations we've seen this one, especially on this variation. A and B, both these crypts are incredibly claustrophobic, and the offense in EMEA had more success than the defense trying to lock this one out. Do you think that's going to that trend will continue here?
I think there's a good chance there will now. In EMEA, B was the preferred site to attack. Now in NA, it looks like straight off the bat they're going to go for site A. Now, for those of you who don't know, Super's team are backed by a group of players who have tons of experience inside the Rainbow Six competitive sphere. All of them working, some former players, most of which have worked in a staff standpoint, so they understand how these games should flow. Straight off the bat, Tech is going to come under pressure from Beezer. He picks up the first kill. Poker will work with Goddess to get the kill onto Profe. It's already a big...
No!
Oh, Super, no!
Oh, Super, you're never going to live that one down, are you? Storming in, Beezer will find a second one now as Lico's next to go. And well, job should be done with those rifles. It's all down to PGZ. He'll find one. Beezer swings that wide, find himself a third. And the opening round goes in favor of Super's team. Highlight of that round, quite simply, Gibson. I think it's going to be fitting. I would call it what we would call that back in our neck of the woods, Corey. Not quite when you do it to yourself. We call that a cyber.
I'm going to request that somebody watching clips that last bit, sends us a screen grab of Super needing Super so we can post it on the timeline.
I think you can do that yourself, Gibson.
Yeah, but that's extra work, and you and I are busy casting now. That's, you know, we're providing the audio overload for the players' great plays.
Exactly. So one thing I'm going to already highlight is going to be the fact that we didn't see the defensive side here of Tekka utilizing these back rooms behind A out towards the southern side of B as well. They might have a little bit of change of variation for this one though, as going to use that double reinforcements, actually, you know, double deployable shield on that wall. They've not reinforced off that wall, leaving it vulnerable to light work destructibility, like simple breach charges. Poker going to be on the apex as a massive amount of utility. Again, Liko on the counterpart for that, bringing out those BZ grenades. Motion sensor detected. That's going to reveal Marmalade's position right now. And Beezer yet again leading that tip of the spear, walking in first. Second gas canister, or sorry, motion sensor has been deployed. Just looking to find as much information as possible. Hammer goes out, and they're already knocking on the door side. HGs go out. That should burn a lot of that HP away from that shield. Beezer takes some friendly fires. That first BZ nade goes out. Poker has took a beating in that effort so far. He'll find that opening pick, and Beezer's there to hunt down and get control of this one. I don't think they've got any idea. Beezer should find that one for free, and does so. Locks this down, and already numerical advantage in favor of Super.
Control C, Control V in the early stages of the way they put it. Super will sprint through with a P90, finding Liko. Full control of A, but no diffuser in hand, but Tech is there to trade it back. 2 versus 1, now make it a 3 versus 1, as Poker is down to 1 HP. Goddess should be pushing into A to get that decryptor down, but for PGZ, there ain't a lot you can do at all. The position has been revealed now. Poker will toss the nade. PGZ has just been given a way to rotate through towards site, but you have a feeling, Whippet, with a long way to go, that this one should be done, and it is. Marmalade picks up the kill. 2 attacking rounds back to back, and Super's team as dominant today so far as they were yesterday.
Beezer, Goddess, Marmalade have been fantastic so far. Beezer, who's a little bit quiet yesterday, has found himself in a 4-1 position. 207 damage done so far, 0 assists across the board. Very impressive from this side. And Gibson, dare I say, if they can have a solid defense here, another 3-0 result coming this one. Just think about that potential grand final around the corner against Kickstart's team and Super. Both these sides have looked fantastic, but Tekka aren't out of this fight just yet. Can they survive here on the offensive side on Shopping Mall? Are we destined to see this locked out in a dominant 3-0 fashion?
I wouldn't be surprised, but we need to add a caveat to what you said too about that final. If they make the final with it, it's Super against former employee of Super, Kickstart, which is always a fun one to think about when you consider that Super was the general manager of the Sonics organization, so he would have held the contract for Kick inside of PUBG a while ago. Looking at the attacking lineup, it looks like A will be the target once more, a 3-2 split. Poker surrounded with 2 players nearby, but as soon as one steps in, the cross should be held. Now, barbed wire will reveal the position. Poker will catch it. Shot in the back to PGZ. Will get traded back the other way. Blue Zone nade will do a little bit of damage as Liko will find that kill. But look at Super sprinting with the P90. Pushes him towards Beezer. Super gets the kill, and it is going all wrong. But Profe finds one as well with it. The decryptor in the hands of Tekka. 3 versus 3. And not too far away from the crypt.
Gas grenades can choke this out just a little bit longer, buying some time to allow the defense to rotate back. And Goddess is significantly wounded. Medcates is not in a position accessible just yet. Super on a right-hand side flank of your screen, looking to go deep from this one. Beezer continues the rampage, finding 2 more, leaving us all down to Rex in a 1 versus 2. Keep his team alive, but shut down by Goddess, and a flawless 3-0 sweep from Super's team.
And it wasn't even close with it. The attacking rounds were incredible. And even on the defense, it was still 2 players up at the end of the round. Look at those scores though. Beezer with 6. Everybody else with either 3 or 2 kills. Not a single death in the series for Goddess, as she had a brilliant showing in that one. But Whippet, not really surprised at all by that result.
Well, I'm not surprised about the outcome of the result. The absolute domination in the way they done that definitely grabs my attention for it. The fact is, it was a very much, I'd call that wolf packing strategy. They stuck together playing for that super. Beezer, for example, great combinations of that. Always trying to fight in that numeric advantage. Always trying to make it an unfair advantage when they take those engagements. Worked out perfectly for them, and well, they lead the series 1 map to nothing.
I think the best way to put it with it is the herding. The way that they were using utility and pressure to force players into the POV of someone else to get the kill. We called the team once in a cast like a bunch of border collies. It was like a bunch of border collies as well, herding the sheep into the kill box. But look, we're going to let the desk break that one down a little bit more. Mark and Falix, tell us what you thought.
Border collies. Can't describe it any better, guys. Because it was like it, Felix. And I think there was an overload section, wasn't it, right? They isolated an individual. They found the weakness amongst the pack. Maybe more like wolves than border collies, because when they smelt the victim around the corner, they really closed them off and made sure they identified the kills they could take one at a time. It was a clean victory, though, for game number 1.
Yeah, I think it's a good analogy for how this game went in general, right? Not really too much in terms of strategy, not really too much to be said in terms of overall gameplay style. It was just a matter of finding the right path, things to get to the opponents a little bit quicker than they might have expected. Not even in terms of setup. It's anything different than what we've seen yesterday. Super dominant from start to finish. Some of these guys haven't even been taken down in any of these rounds. Goddess hasn't got a single death. That's how dominant it has been. And we got to give it up for Beezer as well. 6 frags, just 2 deaths. That's a pretty good scoreline to start things off.
Again, I just feel like Drop Down is just such a strong character. Got us being that one that able to find that mid-range battle, able to control areas, I think is key. I do like obviously the attempt to try and get the U2 in. They didn't quite get it right when it come down to that plant. And the second time the smoke was too short, it actually went in the favor of the defensive side. So I do feel the Tekka Gaming need to revisit how they are going to be looking for breaches, especially coming back in. They're down 1-0. It is a best of 3, but they need to ensure they get the next win. Is there other major changes that they need here, Felix? Is it a character selection thing? Is it they got to stay a bit closer? Like, what have they got to do to make it 1-1?
I mean, I'm always a fan of throwing some of these new champions in there. I feel like even a kayak, to be honest, would have changed things in some of these scenarios. I think an automatic shotgun here and there, you can never go wrong with. Overall, I feel like it's an underutilized champion so far. We haven't really seen him in any of the semifinals up until this point. And maybe there's reason for it, maybe there isn't. I feel like maybe, as you said, switching things up in that regard is going to make it a little bit more unpredictable in terms of what's being played. But ladies and gentlemen, I think it is time for the next match, if I'm not mistaken. And to close things out in terms of predictions, I'd be surprised if we're going to a map 3. I got to be honest.
Oh, that's painful. Right, it is time. It is match number 2. Felix said we're not going to map number 3. Gibson and Whippet, what have you got to say?
Thanks, Mark. And I got to agree with Falix. I think this will be a 2-mapper in the best of 3. But on the bright side, regardless of whether we see 3 maps in this series, we're guaranteed to see a minimum 3 in the final.
Yes, sir, we are. I'm going to say this, Gibby. I want to see Tekka Gaming to be at least to find 1 round. That is the objective here. You do not want to go out of this matchup, out of this tournament, in a 6-0 fashion. So can we see things unravel nicely for this Brazilian roster to get jobs done? And Gibby, are we even surprised the lineup has not changed 1 bit from the Supers team at all? They're opting to bring the exact same lineup as we have seen time and time again. Do you feel that's going to be an advantage yet again for this team?
Well, I think so. They've got the rules down. They know what they want to do. Why change something if it's going to work? Like, the only addition that maybe we could see is the likes of a Heinz, but I think that they're using other operators to fill that role instead, with Marmalade using Fence and those movement detectors, which is what they do. So look what they do. They throw in the movement detector and then they take the space accordingly. So they've cleared a lot of B as things stand. They know there's nobody there. Beezer, who's been the front point, is going to move alongside Super, who will do a lot of damage onto that door, almost getting it open. But I think PGZ needs a cover from the other side of this corridor. Another nade being thrown, pressure put on, poker. Well, but they're in B. They're already in B, by the way, while all this is going on. And Goddess is going to get caught by Tekka, who just holds down Mouse 1 with the MG. And PGZ is going to get traded back.
That's going to be a massive one. PGG needs to win that one. Super's going to be the first to fall from this side. And that M249 so effective. Marmalade finds that pressure. Decides to jump out through that window, but Profe will find that. Poker gets one, but Bees are traded away. And it looks like my wish will be granted. It does appear that we're going to see a round victory for Tekka Gaming here. It's going to be a 1 versus 3. Poker has used up all those BC grenades, finds one pick and doesn't trade any HP as well. Tech is low HP to work with. This could be an opportunity. The Cryptor has went cold, however. He's using his time effectively, scouting things out, making sure he has every single position covered that he can cover. Aware that a threat might be lurking just down to his left. He'll get that Decryptor back in hand, but I wonder, will he try and make a play to get that case down, or make a pivot somewhere else?
Well, he's opening up the door, which means that if he needs to, he can rotate around. 30 seconds left. Time is beginning to work against him, so he scouts out the corridor, and now Tekka and Liko are going to work as a tandem too. He's going to fake the Decryptor first to see if anybody will go for the peek, and he does draw out Tekka. He gets his one. Liko's there. It is down in a 1v1. Poker's going to play for the kill. One more shot should do it, and it's an attack team victory.
What?
Poker out of nowhere with a pistol, and it's a 4K on the round.
A massive individual effort, finding 4 in a 1 versus 3 clutch. What have we just seen? Poker leading the charge, 4-0 after that performance. Well, I said my wish might be granted to see Tekka Gaming get themselves their very first matchup, very first round, I should say, in this best of 3 series. Still yet to find it, and Poker was the simple reason why. Shut down so clean by it, leaving us now advantage once again with Super.
That's what happens with it when you don't play across. When you put 2 players through a singular doorway, usually that's the end result. Poker able to win that one out in the end, and with that, it's a 1-0 lead. They've still not lost a round in this matchup. So we move over to the second round. Curious thing is, I'm looking at the way that Tekka's team set up the site.
Sorry. I'm going to interrupt you, by the way. If you can see those pings arriving, it looks like either they're having a lot of fun with some contemporary art, or they're going to try and find themselves some access, or using it to plan their pathing. We've seen this same structure from this side every single time we watch them play. We're going to have that main stack of 4 people making a play towards that objective, that Route 1 style, and Super off on the island of sometimes irrelevancy to try and find an impact by himself, looking to be that wildcard factor. Hammer swing misses, second one doesn't, as Rex will be the first player to line up from this. Beezer takes a beating, but it trades that off damage as well. Might catch that one that retreat. That BZ grenade forced him to go deep. He's going to get caught by that one. Liko, great repositioning, but Super does find one. PGZ is going to be first to fall for his team.
Yeah, the blue zone nade forced him into a corner, but we'll see Poker manage to find a kill on the Rex. So numbers in the favor level now as things stand in a 3 versus 3. B almost clears. Marmalade will create a line of entry. Goddess is going to have a nade bounce off her back, which doesn't really work into her favor, but now they're starting to try to catch all the corners, and Goddess will try to get the Decryptor down, and she does, so it's a post-plant situation. Motion detector giving her position away, so this should be easy for Tekka to find the kill, holding mouse 1, and it's Poker who will get one. Profe trades back Goddess, but as things stand, 2 versus 2. This is looking really good for the attacking side as things stand. Marmalade holding one angle, Poker the other. They're using the hardcover whippet. Poker creating a line of sight to make sure Profe can't sneak in towards Marm from the other door. And Poker falling back. Marmalade spots out Tekka, and Tekka's going to make a move. And Tekka will fall at the hands of Profe, and it's all down to Poker. The star of the show earlier, pressure right behind him. And finally, we'll see Tekka win a round.
They have it with 3 seconds to spare as well. Job done. We see Super's roster relying on Poker just one more time to try and find that clutch, but couldn't quite get that done. Not able to find that magic strike twice in a row as we move into our side swap. Nice and level. No rotation of characters from the side of Super's team at all, and that is going to be following the script that we would tend to expect from this team so far. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, and they ain't going to fix anything so far from this. And, well, interestingly, Gibby, we see Tekka get their very first round. It still looked a very dominant performance from that until it wasn't from the side of Super.
And now Super will pick up his usual role of Fnatic. Funny enough, Super was the general manager of Sonics, and Fnatic's backstory is that she's the CEO of the company, so No surprise to see Super picking a position of power with his operator choice whippet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
You're the lower guy now, isn't it?
let's talk about the way that Super plays this operator, right? Super puts down the med kits on site, then he goes off on the roam to be a problem for the attacking side, and I think that's one of the benefits because, right, in other games, the healer, the player who plays that role, has to be within proximity of the player they want to get back. On this one, it's set and forget. Throw down the med kits, then go be a problem.
That works out perfectly for Super. Unsure where that grenade came from and what PGD was cooking with that one. Damage done the Goddess, and we'll see that example now as Goddess makes that retreat back towards the back lines. We'll be able to get that HP back from it as Poker begins to retreat as well. Looking to be that first point of contact. KHE goes out, opens up the top panels of that. That means he lobbed utility via that massive quad wall. Heals should have arrived there. Super will be the first to fall, and we're going to see Rex using that MK14 has been so effective, especially in the MMA, and getting that opening pick. Super is first to fall. 30 grenades go out, nothing quite connects with it, and Poker just poking some holes through this wall, trying to find something, but nothing lining up for him, only realistically revealing his position. Goddess will likely hear the footsteps arriving right beside her as 3 bodies stack up. Carnival has that hammer primed and ready, and that opening, that door right there, B is prime and ready for the taking. Only 1 body on it, only 1 body watching, and that's gonna be Goddess.
Yeah, Goddess with the M4 as well in drop downs gear, plus the toxic grenades that you can use if needs be. PGZ getting into a bit of a battle, and the blue zone nade should do the damage for Poker. Profae's down to 1 HP as well, and Profae will fall. It's friendly fire as Liko will find that kill onto their teammate. 4 versus 2 as Goddess now gets in that battle with Tekka. The deployable shield working in favor of Goddess for now, and Beezer will just spray through the wall and finds the kill. Liko takes a ton of damage as well. 30 seconds left, but it don't matter. The defenders take it and they move to map and series point.
Gibson, I'm going to say this, right? Call Poker Josh Allen from that one. A great toss from downtown just to straight up land that BZ after Beezer calls for it, waiting for that information. Great use of utility. If you have the line of sight with those grenades, you can make it stick from a very far distance, and Poker done that. Beezer like, there's this guy in this corner, throw that BZ, get that freebie. Unfortunate that the team kill arrived from the other one as well from the side of Tekka Gaming, but advantage and match and series point goes to Super's roster here.
And it is simple as this. You win this round and you are going to the final. You win this round, your prize pool doubles at the minimum, which I'm sure will be a nice little bonus point for this team as well. But for Tekka team, you got to win the next 2 rounds just to force another map, but it looks a tough ask for this side. The attacking lineup, no real changes. They're going to bring the Zen. We saw the MK have a bigger effect in Europe maybe than we've seen inside of North America. But the question is, where's Super off? Where's he roaming this time?
What is Super's solo mission today going to be? Unsure just yet. Motion sensor goes over the defense, and that's going to be a lot of free information as they go deep in towards B, and that's just going to realize, okay, everything seems to be happening out by B. Beezer trying to crouch walk away, but the MK14 just too quick on the draw and shot down by Rex. Not able to escape towards that med kit and getting that control storage. That grenade goes out. Barbed wire cleared. Bad grenade. Oh, Gibson, you know what I like to call? Well, that's an NA grenade right there. Tossed straight back from that doorway. Super charges in and we'll find some damage on the Profae. Body stacked up. Nade over the top will force Super deep in towards that corner. He wants to re-engage with that P90, but the MK14 just too strong. Goddess's gas will be able to get 1. Profae trades away in the midst of that one. Advantage numerically still sits to the offense. Is going to be jumping on board to the 4 versus 3.
Blue zone nade clearing the corridor, but Goddess playing inside of B, still holding her own. Tekka will use the first aid kit that's been dropped by himself to get back up on the leaderboard. PGC with that DMR peeking the long angle once more, but that blue zone nade is always perfect as it gets PGC and almost finds a second kill. As 2 attackers now force their way down the corridor, but as you see, once they get round the corner, they just move into another room. And Marmalade is holding that door at the ready with drop down. The M4 has been so effective. Actually, no, it's the I mixed up my operators. It's the MG. We got the MG 249.
The M249, and it's going to be able to dump that box magazine straight into it. Oh no! Lico finds a TK, and there's going to be a massive pre-fire. Marble gets that done. Rex alone, and it will be a 3-1 victory. The stage is set. Kickstart versus Super to wrap things up here for your North American PUBG Blind Spot Invitational 2nd edition gimme. And you know what? Dominance continues from this side, but poker 10-1. And I have to say this, absolute individual masterclass on Apex.
Yeah, brilliant performance on Apex again, showing why they are the best character in the game at this moment in time, in my opinion, but just because of the utility they bring. Massive thank you to Take a Gaming for Tech Part. Remember, you can find all of their streaming platforms on the tweet on the official PUBG Blind Spot Twitter. But we thank them, but we move on and focus our attention to the final, where it'll be Team Super against Team Kickstart. Oh my God, Mark Falix, what do you think about this matchup? Are you licking your lips at what this could be?
This is going to be an interesting ending to a very, very quick NA Invitational. As I said before, I actually really like that we've seen Kickstart team go radio silent on their streams. Some of them even blacked out and just left their camera, Felix. They were doing their research. They put themselves in custom games as well. They were trying to find game plan scenarios against what so far is an unbreakable Super attack and defense.
Yeah, I wish I could overanalyze that last game here as well, but let's be honest, it kind of felt like that first semi-final that we've seen in the NA Invitational as well, and that's just very different to what we've seen in the EU Invitational just a couple of hours ago, right? More individual skill, we expected as much, but more convincing scorelines especially. That I'm not so sure of, that we really did expect it to happen like it just did. A clean 2-0 again, Super with a 10 frag game from Poker in particular, just shining through. I think this is going to be dangerous for Kickstart and his squad. Once again, Super has not lost a single map up until this point in the entire tournament. The same cannot be said about Kickstart.
No, the same cannot be said. They have suffered a loss, but they have come back. It makes you a stronger individual, Felix. I've got to believe. I've got to be backing Team Kickstart for this one. Look, and if there's a game to lose, the one you don't want to lose and have a learning curve is the final. But both these teams now are in the lion's share of the prize pool. In a total, there is $6,750 up for grabs, but we've got 2,000 going for first and 1,500 going for second. So they are both in the mix, though, but they want to be ensuring they bag the extra $500 here, Felix.
Yeah, $2,000 on that very first place. It's definitely going to make quite the difference in comparison to second place. So they surely want to go for it. As we said as well, it's not going to be a best of 3 anymore. So there's going to be more chances. Both of these teams didn't need it, except for the very first game that we saw between these two teams, which, by the way, was the very first game that was played in the NA Invitational. That was Super against Kickstart. Now we see them in the finals. But this time around, as we said, it's going to be a best of 5. So there's going to be 2 more maps if it does need to go all the way. So interesting stuff. I know you're going to ask me, who do I favor? And I want to already answer that question. Not yet. Okay, well, I'll keep my answer then.
We're pinning that for a second. Let's actually, I want to talk about the last game, right? We saw a 4-pack poker. That fakey plant twice really drew in the guys. I don't think they're going to be able to do that against Kickstart. I don't think it's going to be as easy to tempt them in, because all they had to do really was run down the clock. And I know the guys will be a little bit more disciplined. I'd love to see those tactics in the final, but I think it's going to be a very strategic ending. But that 4-pack, the fakey plant, that there was the highlight from that last game for me.
Yeah, look, it's interesting because it kind of kept reminding me of that play from Terran when they played against Kickstart and, excuse me, not Kickstart, K-Mind, obviously, and these guys, and ultimately lost the round as well. We saw equally high-level play at that point already. And still, these guys got destroyed by Kickstart and their opposition, ultimately later down the line. But Terran baiting out the utility, Valiate and Co not really letting themselves fall into that trap. Then as soon as Terran tries to replan or re-get that decrypt down, then they actually put it out and actually nail that plan in the end. And something that kind of remind me of that situation again, and goes to show you, right? Even teams have now gone out quite convincingly, actually, in a way bigger fashion, have already kind of had that failure, that going out moment very early on in that group stage. So, interestingly enough, as we said, even teams that play at that strategic level haven't made it up until this point, and I think that goes to show you also how much mechanical skill at the end of the day does still matter, and I think that's the tiny bit of difference that we saw, especially in the semifinals up until this point.
I'm interested as well with that guys are not picking, I suppose, what we'd call the default characters, right? We've got the Apex, we're not really getting Heinz all the time. We're getting collisions sometimes. We're not really getting Zen either. So it does feel different. It does feel really different for me. Look, the biggest character for me from a takeaway, especially from the Invitational 1, Felix, that we got to cover, and now this one, is the new characters. They have made such a difference. And for me, look, offense is kind of above that. Before we kick things off and I got to play with the automatic shotgun with Kai, I thought that was more stronger. I thought we was going to see, definitely from a defensive play, that one come into more. But actually, for me, the M249 fence, the ability to get those motion detectors out, and how they're being used now in the corners, even stopping the ability to go through, I think it is a big play that has really changed up the game. Do you think both these teams are going to kind of stack up the same character list again, or would you expect a change a little bit later?
I don't really expect a change to happen, to be honest. Once again, the only character I'm really surprised that we're not seeing more of is Kayak. I still feel like, and that's ultimately from my limited gameplay experience as well, that he's an underrated character, not only in terms of gadget, but in terms of his primary weapon as well. And that's ultimately what is so great about Fence as well. We have so many scenarios, if you actually play the game, where pre-firing is a viable option. You try to get off as many shots as well. You try to get the timing down right, especially in, as we said as well, in this top-down view kind of fighting, where you know if you see someone, he's most likely going to see you as well. At that point, as long as you can aim your mouse, most of the times you're going to get traded out to some degree. So it's gonna be down to who's got the better weapon, and that is when Fens really does shine. So obviously pre-firing just an added bonus, an extra bonus that might win you an aim fight on top of that. So I think that's the main reason why we see that maybe being taken more into consideration than Kayak. But ultimately, to answer your question, no, I don't think much is going to change. I think we're going to see the same rotations, and at this point in the tournament, I'd be surprised if you really do see a surprise character pick like Buddy coming in. I can imagine so.
We called it earlier and it came out with force. Well, let's have a quick surprise. You need to surprise yourself and get yourself over to Steam and go to PUBG BLINDSPOT and then type in the demo. Make sure you smash the download link. It's open. There's so much people going, oh my God, I couldn't get hold of a key before. It's open to the public. Download it. See if you can prove it. See if you can get your name on the next Invitational event when it comes round. Other parts, though, get yourself on PUBG BLINDSPOT, also on Steam, but hit the wishlist icon because you'll be able to get the information when the new characters, the new maps, and more importantly, when the game will officially drop. Let's head over to a quick break. We need to drum up the players, relight the fire, because it is going to be a best of 5 and the final is coming up.
This is one where we all go like that bottom area and I hold the window.
Or we're all main gate, and then
Yeah.
you need to scan every one of these rooms, Dross. You have to clear this whole hallway. There's nothing really to play behind. If there's a guy with a shield, we need to use util, because like we can't just run it in or we'll die. Get a smoke on the crypt. Even if you go down, just plant the decryptor.
It's barricaded.
Yeah, that's even better. That's even better. Break this.
I'm nading.
Are you ready to nade this?
Yeah.
Yeah, break.
Got one.
Good.
Nice.
I'm in.
I need a baddie.
Left is clear. Left is clear.
What's in the aim, I think?
Blue Zone nade's gonna come out, but we haven't seen Gunner be able to get in and get into a plant just quite yet.
You can't see from that angle.
Come here. Good. Down, shoot. How are you losing that? Jesus, that's sad. Get a rip. You need to go get a job, man, or you're holding it.
Oh my
This is one where we all go like that bottom area and I hold the window.
Or we're all main to play vine. If there's a guy with a shield, we need to use util because like we can't just run it in or we'll die. Get a smoke. I'm in.
I need a baddie.
Left is clear. Left is clear.
What's in there, my ping?
Blue zone nade's gonna come out, but we haven't seen Gunner be able to get in and get into a plant just quite yet.
You can't see from that angle. Come to me. Come to me.
Got bomb going down.
You have a Maddie, bro?
Yeah, here.
Just play time if you can.
A lot of work there.
We're good, bro. We're good.
Even though Venerated's the one that's going to come up with kills.
Good! Down, shit! How are you losing that? Jesus, that's sad. Get a shit. You need to go get a job, Venerate. You're holding it.
Oh my god.
Back into the PUBG BLINDSPOT NA Invitational, and after some tech issues, we have had a sub. Beezer will be stepping out, couldn't get into the lobby because, yeah, who needs a Beezer anyway? We got Wooly joining from Team K-Mind, another great mind from the realms of PUBG joining us with it, and we are ready to get underway here on Hospital.
I'm excited for this one, Wooly jumping in. So it's going to be an unfortunate position, I would think. So Beezer has been very, very effective for Super's roster. So the question, Gibbs, I'm going to make you say this one final time going into it. It is going to be prediction time for you, Gibby. Who's it going to be?
I'm going to go for Team Super, only because, we go, you know,
you're choosing between, I'm making you choose. I'm making you choose between your two children here, Gibson. It's between a PUBG stack and another title.
Yeah, it's not a fair one that you're making me do. I'm gonna go for Team Super just because they're winning the series against this team already. You know, they won yesterday in the matchup between these two sides.
You know what, Gibby? Just to make things interesting in terms of this universe, I'll cheer for the PUBG guys. So I'm all in. I'm all in on Team Kickstart.
Well, look, Roth, Rello, Cowboy, and Kickstart are goats, so I'm excited to see if they can win this one as well. Don't get me wrong, both of these teams will want to win this for the pride of it as well. But starting on the attack will be Team Super. They're going to go for the same setup they always do. Wooly will be working alongside Poker, doing the role that Beezer did oh so well, picking Carnival, using that hammer to open up any reinforcements and soft walls that are in place, and that little second whippet as well between when you open up the wall with a hammer and you get your gun out can be very problematic. Oh, that's a great blue zone native forces suppress into the line of sight. Poker gets the kill, and great usage again and understanding of yeah, don't throw your nades at your colleagues, guys.
It's been a more difficult task than you would have liked so far. Super finding two like that one, Rello and Rolfex to go, leaving us in a 5 versus 2 very early in this one. Super making it 3, charging with that P90. And well, Cowboy stuck between a rock and a hard place. Super with that HE as well. Oh my goodness, Wooly gets that one. But Gibby, I call them the Wolf Pack, but you call them a pack of Border Collies. They herded up the defense, and they get themselves what looked like to be a clinical opening round here on Hospital.
3 kills for Super as well as they open up the attack very well. But why don't you let the viewers know, and this is a test of your knowledge, what was Super's podcast called once upon a time?
Am I meant to know that?
You don't know?
No.
Do you remember the If Super Says It podcast?
No.
Well, if Super says they're going to win, I reckon Super reckons they're going to win, and he's in it to win.
I'm sorry, is that something I should know?
I thought you did know it. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I do know that Super, during his time as a professional player in another title, did have one of the worst North American kill records ever.
Yeah, but still a record. Still played competitively in North America. How did your professional career go as a pro player?
There's a reason I cast.
Exactly. So we're going to get into the game. Obviously, you can see that it's a widespread defense here as they look to try to meet the attackers at the points of entry to the map, but I think the attacking utility is really good at clearing it. Wooly's position has been revealed, but Suppress is just a little too far away on the fence. Super, though, crouch walking in, and Roth might just get the opportunity to flank behind Super, and Roth is now on the move with the M4 in his hand, so Super could be in some trouble, but not before he potentially runs into the line of sight of someone else. Cowboy getting naded out here. Marmalade's nade will clear, at least half clear, that barbed wire, and here comes the flank from Roth, but is it too late? Well, because Super has just walked into sight, got the kill on the Rello. Cowboy's low in HP as well. Wooly's in position, and I think Roth's flank is a little too late.
Super just on that backstab, creeping in. As you mentioned, Roth just not quick enough on that. BZ goes out to separate the remainers. And while Goddess has that case in hand, tries to have to make this one stick in either A or B. Wooly takes the beating. Suppress will be able to find that damage done. HG in reply. Second one followed up as well, but not accurate enough to find enough damage for a knock. It's going to be an easy plant going down. Super does eventually be traded away. His kickstart shuts it down. That impact grenade nearly finds damage on towards Goddess, leaving us now in a 3 versus 3. It's going to be a very difficult position as that MT49 can shred you, and Marmalade's next to go. A tantalizingly close gunfight here as Kickstart and Wooly are so close to each other. Suppress will find one more, leaving Goddess alone. She finds two. Goddess has done this once before. The clutch queen for this side, but can't get it done this time around. Suppress with a 4K finds the victory, and that MT49 shreds through the offense to bring us level at the half.
And that was close. One bullet from Goddess would have got the win on the round, but Suppress will level the sides, and that's what we expected this game to be like. A lot tighter at the side swap. And Whippet, we're seeing the defensive utility be changed up as they choose their characters for the game. Super and Marmalade electing to take the deployable shields, but are Poker, Goddess, and Wooly going to elect to keep the barbed wire? Because we've not seen a lot of barbed wire in action so far over the course of the weekend.
We haven't, but I'm very intrigued to see if it's going to be useful for this. Now, of course, that barbed wire is going to give you audio detection if someone's trying to maybe, sneak around an angle, similar to what Super's been doing time and time again. And they're going to use this, actually, on that window jump down. So the idea that's going to be if you jump through that window and commit deep into it, you're going to get stuck in that barbed wire. So you don't necessarily need to watch that window, just listen for that barbed wire cue.
Super on the roam, remember, playing with Fnatic, will do what he does best, gets those 2 medkits down for his teammates, and then goes off to be a problem for the other side. Barbed wire, of course, makes a rather large audio cue, but doesn't do any damage to the attackers that walk through it. Looking at the attackers up at the 3-2 split that we see oh so often, Kickstart and Suppress, they'll work in tandem with each other. Why does that work? Well, Kickstart with the medkits, you'd like to see Kick maybe working with the rest of the team, but Super is sprinting right up there to meet with first contact. But I think Super, if he can get one, even if he gets traded back, 1 kill from Super here wouldn't be too bad. As position's been revealed, he swings, but he doesn't even get the one. Kickstart finds the opener.
Great use that Heinz camera to get that information. It means that pre-fire is so easy. Super can't do anything in that position. He's not going to be stuck in their blind spot. And the early advantage goes for our offense. And well, that camera goes out yet again, getting more information out by Store and into towards Zulu. Gas and smoke combination are there, and that's going to smoke off this angle. And Roth's going to use it as an opportunity to dive straight on towards that wall. BZ grade is a great counter to it, meaning you can't use a hammer straight into B just yet. They eventually do get the access point. Now they're in towards the crypt.
This is one of the things that I got to give this side credit for. Kickstart's team, really good at using smokes to signal the execute and make the push. Now Marmalade, with the M249 at the ready, will swing around and gets the kill on the Suppress. Now Kickstart may be tempted to make the same move, and Goddess and Marmalade, the 2 ladies, will look to lock down the site. Damage dealt. Marmalade, though, falls at the hands of Kick, who gets a double. The BZ need, forcing Wooly back as Wooly and Poker will need to go for the retake, but that decryptor Whippet is cold, and it's being held by Poker. 2 versus 2. Kickstart, a sneeze would be enough to take him down, but thankfully the medkit will be deployed and utilized as he gets back up to full HP. Whippet, this one's going to be tense, and Cowboy picks up the decryptor and manages to get out of the line of sight of Poker.
Long rotation back towards side though, but Poker's going to play this crossfire. He's to win this one, but Kickstart's good for the cover, and Wooly left down in a 1 versus 2. The case should go down on towards B, and Kickstart's job covering is going to be absolutely perfect. Forces in this fight, but it's going to be 2 separate 1v1s. Cowboy in a great position to shut down Wooly. Wooly now has to try and duck and dive between cover and shut down with that P90.
Yes.
It is going to be an ace for Kickstart, finding that, and well, Gibson, it looks like we might see Super's roster for the very first time drop a map here, Gibby. What a matchup this has been so far. 1 round away from claiming the opening of this best of 5.
And remember, the only team to take a map off of Kickstart side the whole weekend was Super side as well. So if they take this map, it will be parity between the 2 teams as far as maps are concerned, but in our best of 5 final, it will be advantage Kickstart. On the defense now, what can Super's squad do? Will they create the rotate between the sides? Usually you see the teams do that. So that single or that quad wall that separates A from B will have a rotate between it, allowing the defenders to play it. Marmalade will hold connector on the other side of the map. You can see where the attackers are going to push from up, but they're giving their signals as to where they want to enter the building from. The question is, with them bringing Heinz and all that information being gathered onto Super, does he play as aggressive or even as solo on the roam?
I think that Super's going to play very much that style. I can't see Super realistically wanting to stick with his team in this one. That's going to be acting as that backstab, but they try and get themselves some early access early. Yeah, that makes sense for me, Gibson. Hold on.
Now, either phrase actually works for that one. Early access or access early, either one is fine. You could have just laid that one off. It would have been okay. Wow.
You take over for the
Big hammer. Big hammer, good. Roth, open wall. And step further forward. Opens up another singular door now as they get closer and closer to site. Kickstart giving information as to where they think the defenders are playing, as Goddess will throw out the toxic gas to buy a little bit of time. Suppress, though, gets the opening kill. The MK getting the kill onto Super, as the toxic gas will hold back the push for now. Suppress will get the medkit in and get the HP back up to full, which will certainly help as we get later inside of the round. Now, the good thing is, though, Poker, both of those BZs are still in place. Another BZ, though, the first one will get thrown by the attackers as they get closer and closer to B. Roth finds the access. The blue zone will force him towards the smoke for now, but the smoke providing cover so Goddess can't swing. More information gathered. Ping's coming out with it, but this is so good from Kickstart's team on the attack as Suppress finds another.
Flurry utility arrives and that nade should be good enough to shut that one down, but Kickstart does find one of the Marmalade now. Wooly gets one traded back, so Press going to be off the board. Zen and that MK14 no longer applicable in this round. Poker does pop one as Cowboy stuck trying to beat his way through that wall. Not an easy way in, but the Cryptor is down, and that's going to force us into a retake position now from Super Squad. Kickstart holds in towards that Crypt in A, and I believe the plant is in B. He's got a deployable shield to work with. Impacts aren't going to go deep enough to find that damage on the Wardrello, and Poker has to make a long rotation while crouch. Crossfire held by Roth, and are they going to look the right way? I don't think they will. Sound was there. Wooly gets that fight, was going to be a perfect read.
So
the
good.
cross held. Rello shuts it down, and it's going to be a 3-1 opening map here from Kickstart.
But did you see what happened? Roth moved to force the players to look at him, and on the back of Roth's movement, the cross of the swing came from the other side to get the round one. That was so well done. They take the first map. They're level as far as the all-time matchup between the two sides now, but it is advantage team Kickstart as the PUBG team take advantage in the grand finals and will throw this one back to the desk. Is it PUBG pride, boys?
Always. I never took my eye off PUBG. PUBG guys, Kick and the guys. That's it, the fact that they had the break, and I think something we haven't spoken about, FedEx, is that Kickstart team played first in the semi-finals. Is that an advantage? Because they played, they set their tools out, said, hey, this is how we're going to play. Come against us. But they sat and watched Super's team. They then got themselves in custom matches, and actually really clean to see. I had to open up my other screen how they want to execute the plants with Roth moving his way forward, how they were using the smokes, how they were clearing and getting util dumps through multiple rooms. Seems to be working now for the guys. I like that. I think the advantage is that they played the first semi-final.
Yeah, it feels like they've just started to lock in. It feels like they're just now, actually, now that we get to the grand final, started to play seriously in the way they approach some of these rounds. In fact, way more control or way more sure in the way they approach the start of the round, especially. I've never felt like they got into unnecessary 1v1s, which did happen before and ultimately did work in their favor as well. But I think now they actually respect their enemy for the very first time. And because of that, in my opinion, a way more disciplined game that we saw coming out from Kickstarter and these guys. And what also has to be said, I mean, it's individual performances again, right? Kickstarter, 7 frags, Suppress, 6 frags. He just keeps on impressing me, to be honest. He's always on fence, and he's always making frags.
Let's talk about Super's team now for a bit, because the kill spread is wide. They are all lifting the team up as a unit. It is spread across the board. And don't get me wrong, Super, I loved the road mobility there. Obviously, the P90, we know that's great at close quarters. We've really spoken 1,000 times about that. Obviously, Kick's team, they would stack up 2 of them to try and isolate and get rid of. I like that they have kind of counteracted that play a little bit. Keen to see what Super can do, but definitely it's really clear message to me. Super's team overall, collectively, are strong gunners and able to perform on this type of format. Kickstart team have a game plan. Not all getting the kills though, Felix, but so far, they've got the first tick against their name.
Yeah, it's a great advantage going into a best of 5, knowing that you've just kind of crossed like the toughest line that you could potentially imagine, which is what to really expect from an enemy that you've only met once and you've lost. An enemy that hasn't lost a single match during the entirety of these NA Invitational. And I think they just really, really handled that first kind of hurdle, yeah, really well, honestly. That wasn't a moment in time where I thought maybe now it's going to fall apart for them. No, I actually thought, despite them meeting every resistance, that they've always been in control, somewhat in control at least, on how these rounds, at the end of the day, did turn out. And once again, I think it's individual performances that stand out here time and time again. They just seem to have the better individual when it comes to decision making and clutch scenarios, at least so far. Maybe that's going to change the next game once again, as we have 4 more maps potentially in front of us. And I think, I don't want to jinx it now, but I feel like we're going the distance, because I'm saying all of that now, but it could have, with a couple of different scenarios in the first 2 rounds, gone very differently as well.
I do feel like this one could go backwards and forwards. I'm with you on that, mate. I kind of feel like Super's team might readjust how they play and then sort of reenact to basically, okay, well, you played, you opened, you breached this way. We're going to counteract, though, by doing X, Y, and Z. I do think we could do that. Talk about character selection really quickly. Look, for me, that last takeaway, I think Heinz, that's Blue Zone nades, they were great from Apex. Yes, the shields were really good. Yes, the M249 was good. I think just looking at Kick's team and how Heinz was being used to clear even micro corners, they were just producing a lot of output. Yes, they've got 6 cameras to use. Yes, I think it is 1 too many, maybe 2 too many. But look, they're using all of them, and I think that was maybe the edge that they had over the team, especially from the attacking side, using Heinz.
Yeah, we keep coming back to this, but this is ultimately what PUBG blind spot so far is for me, right? Finding the right combinations, finding new ways, especially at the start of a tournament like this, the start of a new game. A game is just launched, no one really knows how to play certain things. Finding new creative ways, and I feel like that's actually where Kickstart and this team, now that I think about it, excels the most. They keep on being creative. Right, you were talking about Heinz, I was talking about Kike being put into the mix, maybe not today, but at least yesterday a couple of times. And this is what you need at the start of it. No one really knows the perfect play yet. So try as much as you can. You talked about this in between the semifinals as well, right? Them muting their streams, getting to custom games, trying out as many different solution scenarios as they possibly can. And this is ultimately going to make the difference on who's going to take the grand finals. I'm sure Super has done this as well before today, or at least between yesterday and today. But ultimately, well, it's going to come down to why I think whoever's done that in a better way, whoever is a little bit more creative, I think ultimately is going to take home the winner prize pool of $2,000 as well.
Well, I know who can be creative. That is the amazing Gibson and Whip It. Take it away, though, for game number 2.
Shopping Mall A, the map now for the second game in this best of 5 series. It is Advantage Team Kickstart, as you can see in the top of your screen, as they won 3-1 on the first map of the matchup. Whip It, we switch things around and we'll see the defense being Kickstart's team first. And are you seeing anything about their lineup that you want to bring up?
You know what, Gibby? It's going to be that return of Collision getting brought out, that shotgun tripwire combination. We've not seen it a lot here in North America in these final days, but this final day so far, but Cowboy has consistently brought this one out and has been effective with that shotgun. And the big thing I'm going to draw your attention to is look at the claustrophobia of this section. Both A and B, these crypts are incredibly small with limited avenues to maneuver around them. A shotgun in these halls could be absolutely devastating.
You throw a BZ on the external wall of A and it clears the whole room. That is how small that side is, as Marmalade will start things off by getting the little motion detector out there to find out if there's any defender presence as you enter through this room. Getting closer and closer to sight. Roaming presence is there from Kickstart, who catches out Super, who was going for a crouch walk as first blood has been drawn by Kick, and he can fall back inside of B. Nades will be thrown to clear that deployable shield, giving yourself access through the vents to Suppress, and Wooly will go head to head here as well. But look at Roth on the flank with Poker. Gotta be so careful, takes a ton of damage, as so does Suppress, who falls at that BZ thrown by Poker.
Poker has been spectacular with those BZ grenades. Going to have that success yet again. Motion sensor goes out to try and get some extra information. Goddess looking to get that control. But the defense, again, can play with this zonal because it's so tight, so compact at this stage of it. Poker does have one BZ still in back pocket that makes things work with at this point. But look at this kickstart. Roth holding out by a pyramid, just trying to hold as much control as possible and choke out as much time as they can. Rello is so tantalizingly close to Marmalade, but the swing isn't there. And Goddess, you might be able to get that case down, but the second you make that sound, that audio cue, you're going to be revealing yourself. Marmalade does get one. Cowboys off the cards. Rello finds that trade. Marmalade's going to be off the board, as well as Poker off in the distance. The defense mop things up as Goddess is fast to fall. Gibson, another incredibly strong start from this team, and well, it looks like Team PUBG has got it going nicely for them.
Yeah, 1-0 lead. They win their opening round on the defense, and they do it by reading into the play that Super's bringing. They're catching out the solo entry players very easily. Roth playing on the roam has been a problem so far, and will look to continue to do so. Marmalade bringing fence once more. The lineup is there. Yes, you could argue that maybe bringing in Wooly is having an impact due to how well Beezer had been playing over the course of tonight, but Wooly is still doing everything that's being asked with it. Using the utility, throwing the nades, it's just they're getting caught out by the map a lot so far in this one.
The thing with me going into this is, of course, this map has been very attacking biased in the last rounds that we've seen so far. Just the compact nature of it allows you to be able to make those executions stick, and again, somewhat of a Route 1 style of play. You can get access in towards BNA in an incredibly fast fashion, and as you mentioned, the fact that you can use a simple BZ grenade from an external wall to have so much direct access so early is rather incredible, so I really do want to see them utilize that option of attack. Though playing out towards the back rooms has been effective, and look at this again, that motion sensor is going to gather so much free information. They can see that pinging away, realizing exactly where the threat is, and they've somewhat detected the fact that Super likes to play individually, so by seeing this large mass of players, they can use it to read into the fact that, well, Super, if we know he's going to be by himself, where is he? They can look for that one individual player all by him lonesome.
Double nades thrown will begin to destroy the wall a little bit. The blue zone nade forcing Rello and Cowboy into this tucked corner. Wooly now opens up the wall, and Cowboy will sprint in towards A, but I think Rello's position is still fine for now. Marmalade throwing another motion detector. That nade will force Cowboy in through the vent as he takes a bit more damage, but Suppress will find the opener and kill as down goes Marmalade. Rello's position still given away. The blue zone nade should do it, and it does. Poker finding another kill as Goddess gets closer and closer to A, but that Winchester in the hands of Collision will be a very dangerous weapon indeed. Super now walking in, finds the kill onto Kick, turning his attention to Suppress right behind him. Backs to the player, and Super takes control of B. Cowboy on the other side of the vent now. Super realizing that you don't want to get flanked on the backstab. Poker gets the kill on Suppress. Super finds Roth and Whip It. It's a 4v1. It's all down to the shotgun in the hands of Collision.
Well, Cowboy fires off one, gets it, but it's not going to be enough to find a second one. Poker finding 3 in that round, and Poker yet again putting on somewhat of a clinic here on Apex. The utilization of those blue zone grenades has been absolutely sublime so far. Just able to pick the perfect timing, the perfect positioning to get maximum effect from it. I believe we've seen Poker so far get like 2-3 kills every single matchup with those BZs. Has been fantastic for them, and leading the charge 4-1. Goddess Wooly yet to get themselves off the board here. Roth as well struggling to get that opening mark so far for his team, but it's going to be all level at the end of the half.
Important to note that the blue zone nades do stack damage, so if you throw 2 on top of each other and you're inside the radius of both, you do take double the damage, so it's not just singular for the viewers at home who might be wondering about that question. Round or side swap has now occurred though, so the defenders are now the attackers and vice versa, and we can look at how Team Super are going to set up their defense, reinforcing that triple wall, which seems to be the standard whippet. It looks to be what they're doing a lot of at this moment in time. Wooly deciding he doesn't want to rotate in that corridor. They're going to reinforce triple wall, and then you got Poker and Super off on the roaming presence.
I'm really curious if the approach is going to be any way different from them, or going to knock you on the door. And this is the difficulty with how compact this is. That hammer is going to get direct access into it. They're going to use that camera, and Goddess isn't going to be detected by it just yet. And I think crouching behind that shield will be enough. Hammer goes out, and an opening is there. Goddess stuck in that corner with nowhere to go. Hopefully a grenade is in place, but I don't think they have one available to them to use. Cover is there. Wooly swings out wide, looks to try and dive in behind it. Gas grade should be good. Super, our Goddess escapes with that. Wooly takes one chunk of damage though, and then the fall on back. Opened up by Kickstart though, finding two. The trade is there by Marmalade, but that might have been damage done. Great timing to open up that bridge to find that pick as Marmalade reduced to low HP, but Poker stands up tall yet again and suppressed next and fall.
Yeah, another one of those Heinz cameras getting information on all of A as Roth gets the kill on the Marmalade. Super will look to rotate, but as you can see, all avenues of access have been closed, so he needs to open them up himself. Cowboy now will send out more information with a Heinz camera, looking to find Super, who takes a ton of damage, but will fall back, and Poker almost getting the flank off. But the problem is, but look where those two first aids are for the defensive side. Full control of them, locked by the attackers, Roth and Cowboy. One shot each should be enough to do the killing blow. But it's all down to Poker on the other side. He's been a menace so far. Cowboy behind the shield, and they're going to use the defender's medkits with it, and they're going to get back up to full, and surely that'll see them take this round.
It should do. 30 seconds. And again, the thing is, though, the moment you try and get that plant down, you make this a technical 1 versus 1. All Poker needs to do is win 1, but Roth shuts that down brilliantly, and we find ourselves on a map point advantage now for Kickstart side. Gibson, I was all hyped up for Super going this one. Now, of course, Bees are, with tech issues, not able to play this matchup, but it has been a dominant display so far, and you have a feeling that we might be on the cusp of going to map advantage here.
I feel like you're right. On the attack, they've looked so good, his team Kickstart. And as I said, Roth has been watching the EMEA broadcast all day, looking at how the European teams play the maps, looking at how they can take things into their games and take advantage of it. And I think that the preparation is giving them the advantage here. Now, let's be real. One little move change in that round could have had seen things go oh so differently. Goddess getting scouted significantly, but I'm going to say a Cowboy using Heinz has been so influential to these attacks, using those scans to get all the information as to where the defenders are, and then using that information to take advantage of the kills.
As we get ready to dive into what could be our final matchup for Hospital, for Shopping Mall, I should say. It's time to get into one. It looks like it's going to be a very similar approach yet again. They want to get themselves access in towards these back rooms to try and deny that control. That shield setup that we saw Goddess in previously, not going to be used. And well, they're just going to make a little bit of a racket here, just bashing their way through that barbed wire. The gas grenades aren't going to be enough to find any damage from this. Wooly will hear all that noise just beside him. The Heinz camera goes out. They know they got themselves direct access, and now Wooly's position has been compromised. They can use a hammer to get themselves access, but they're just going to charge on deep, and Wooly playing a patient game. Hammer is there. Misses the swing. Needs his teammate to get this one. And they open that one up. Wood looks to get aggressive from this. He's to find success here, but caught in that BZ. And just about survives it.
And Goddess's toxic gas will get the kill, but Roth will find Wooly now as it's back to a 4 versus 4. Nade thrown deep towards Marmalade, who will get traded back as she takes down Kickstart. In the middle of sight now is Roth. Roth falls at the hands of Super though. The P90 ringing true. This is Super's team looking to force overtime in the matchup as Poker's BZ, not for the first time, gets another kill. Poker vaults on through in the 1v1 with Cowboy, but Cowboy falls. And it is going to be overtime as Super's team fight back.
They get themselves into overtime. Gibson, it all comes down to a single round shootout for this, and we'll see the defensive side going to be held on from Kickstart here. Gibson Kickstart 6-3 so far. Mega performance. Poker exactly matching that as well. 6-3 as well. 598 damage, just shy of that 600 mark. It's done fantastic so far going into it. Poker MVP very clearly from the side of Super's roster. Can he continue that when the team also desperately needs it? Once again, donning on towards that apex, bringing out those two blue zone grenades, able to mold and shape and control exactly where those defenders can sit. All operators have brought out those HE grenades, actually all but one, so they have an access to 8 fragmentation grenades to clear utility and, more importantly, clear those power positions.
Wooly with smoke though. Smoke can be the initiator to go for that plant to give yourself some cover. But here's why I ask you the question, Whip. But as the round starts, both Wooly and Rello have got 0 kills each so far in this map. Which of them do you feel is most likely to change that up as we go into this final round?
Oh, Gibby, you're going to maybe put a caster curse on someone. I think Rallo's going to be the great position to get this one done. Smoke grenade goes out. They're going to try and creep in, and Roth's going to force all the way back from that. Lots of damage taken from that BC, but a great combination. The smoke grenade to cover off your entryway, and a BC get that control.
Another BZ being thrown by the defenders this time as they look to clear some space, but on the other side of the map, Kickstart does a ton of damage onto Marmalade. But Goddess is wrapping around and the two will combine to get the kill onto Kick with a headshot. Rello finds Super though as they start to fight back on the other side. Wooly needs to win his one on Cowboy, and he does, getting his first kill of the game, and Rello is sprinting around to try trade this kill. Peeks around, Rello gets the kill. It's now a 2 versus 1. Rello needs to put in all the work as Goddess will get the decryptor down. There's a triple wall reinforcement blocking Rello from making his way there. Goddess wouldn't do too wrong to fall back and try get one of those first aids that you'd hope has been placed earlier in the round by Super, because Rello Whip it in a situation like this where both defenders are one shot in the blue zone like this could be the death toll. It's got to be very careful. Walks into A, but as we know, the decryptor is not there. It's currently sat in B.
Checking every corner, unsure where what he hears. 14 seconds to make something stick, but he's going to get caught in that crossfire. Goddess will get gifted that freebie. Gibson is going to be a 3-2 scoreline victory for Super's roster, and that brings us tied up in our best of 5 series, 1 round apiece. It was a very difficult and well fought battle from both these teams to get here, but oh my, it was the narrowest of margins to lock that one out. And I have a sneaking suspicion that slowly but surely Super's roster is slowly getting back into this one. We saw them play more stylistic to that Wolfpack style, always trying to swarm out players, making it into those unfair gunfights. We saw that in that last round in particular. I think they might be back on this one. I think momentum might be beginning to shift in this series.
Guaranteed 4 maps now with that victory, as well as the sides go 1 apiece in the best of 5 grand final. But we're going to send this one back to the desk as Team Super strike back, Mark.
1 apiece. They do strike back, and most importantly, they strike back to the Invitational 1 winners. Kickstart needs to reset. He's already got one of the belts there. He needs a few more wins underneath that one to get him a second title. Good game, like the map. The guys highlighted, though, how close those sites are together, and those blue zone nades really became impactful to try and control out. I do feel for Roth, though, at the very end, that BZ nade didn't really go exactly where he wanted it to, and I think it stopped in the opportunity to kind of get in to the site. Unfortunately for them, though, it does draw up the scores. 1 apiece, Felix. We've got to reset. Do you think Kickstart's team can reset and stop potentially the momentum coming from Super's team?
Yeah, well, lovely casters aren't really as convinced as I am that they will be striking back. They are talking about a momentum shift. I am not quite sure. I wouldn't go as far. I actually think that 1v2 in the end there from Yellow could have gone a very different way as well. And up until this point, I actually felt like they were the better team on that map. I felt like they had more chances to close out some of these rounds. Apart from the very first round, I think, where they got kind of taken over by the explosiveness, kind of got caught off guard by the explosiveness of Super's team. They actually were a little bit more laid back, a little bit more controlled than what we usually saw, and I felt like they actually worked in their favor quite decently. So I wouldn't go that far. I actually think Kickstart and these guys wouldn't give them the advantages yet, but I think they'll definitely take another map.
Well, I do like that the team can go backwards and forwards. They can dial it up and dial it back down, but we can dial it back in, though, to the next round. Map number 3 is underway. Has the momentum, though, from Super's team got enough to bag enough 1-0 kick? We'll put a stop to it.
We ain't messing about with it. Map 3 of this best of 3 series is underway. The sides are level at 1 map apiece, and starting on the defense will be Kickstart here on the map. Marmalade was switching around. We had a little bit of a hint of body for a second, but will defer back to Fence, who has been one of the most beloved characters so far. But I'm going to say it, my two favorite characters with the impact they have in the game so far is Apex and Fence.
Yeah, I have to say. Honestly, Apex has been brilliant from it. I'm going to be boring and say I like the fact that you can get your health back with Fnatic on the cards as well. It means you have that reset moment towards that mid to late stage of this. But Mansion has been a difficult map to crack for lots of these teams. We've seen some of the teams, especially here in North America, go way more direct, trying to access their way through that display case in towards Bravo. Some teams inside of EMEA particularly like to make their entryway out towards the top of your screen, out by pillars, and try and work their way from that clear. So diving into this one, and it looks like it's going to be somewhat of a direct attempt coming out early days from Super.
Yeah, that bay window giving you direct access inside of display room inside of B, which gives you a great opportunity to get the plant down, but Cowboy's got the deployable shield with the shotgun at the ready. Now there's ways to deal with this, and Nade will take that shield down to half HP, which will make it a bit of a problem for Cowboy if they double down on that utility. Wooly will open up the side room now as well, which gives you even more pressure to put on the Cowboy. But thankfully, Whippet, that blue indestructible cabinet protects Cowboy if they do open that single wall.
It gives them that very difficult position, just trying to creep around it. And again, you have that wall open, direct access in towards site, but you have to make this very difficult crossfire. You're going to force lots of grenades, and you don't usually for it. Cowboy looks to get aggressive, but shut down very quickly. Gastra is going to force him back from it. Ross will find the opening. Marbley will get that trade. That M249, yet again, such a very important tool of resource from these teams to work with. HGs go out. Rello's going to be in between both of those and will survive it. Wooly misses that hammer swing. Needs to stick that one, and access to B has been granted.
Goddess HP low though. Super doesn't seem to have placed down those first aid kits, so Goddess will remain like this for the rest of the game as Marmalade will start shooting open that single wall to get closer and closer to sight. Blue zone need combination being used, but Ross toxic gas and suppress with the M249 will put advantage in favor of the defenders. Now that wall is reinforced, so Suppress will have to wrap around a bit more, and Wooly is going to put on up. Suppress gets another 2 kills with the M249, and the defenders hold strong in the first round here in Mansion.
They made it look nice and easy, Gibby, just holding the line, not giving a single inch, and that's going to be a difficult one now. And the big thing we're looking at from this, though, is the fact that Super's roster went for a very direct push. They didn't really opt to go for any variety. They didn't go for a whole map clear. They stuck to their guns and said, we want to play a simple Route 1 style of play. But here on Mansion, there's not really any easy direct ways to get that control. There's long lines of sight that can hold both objectives at once. You can throw utilities from these deep positions, especially if those rotates are open. And I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit of pivot needed here for this last offensive round.
Yeah, the determination from a lot of these teams to just consistently go for the same site over and over again does give the defenders the tendency to put more resources that way. And this time Cowboy with the deployable shield, trip mine double setup if you look to jump in through the window. Roth once more extending out towards the garden side, putting down the reinforcements on the door and the wall, allowing him a little bit more security, a little bit more information when he's trying to defend this section of the map. And I think that it is going to be a pivot whip. It looks like they might be focusing on A this time around.
I think it's going to be a wise decision yet again. Super going to act independently out towards Pillar as he can look to get that P90 to make some damage for him. He's tantalizingly close to kickstart, so both captains might find themselves in a fight early days here. I think Super, yeah, they're in the same room with each other. That opening fight should happen just towards the bottom of the screen, and does so. Kickstart will find Super. He's going to be first of all for that one. Not even a single scratch on Kickstart either. And there's going to be no one there to trade. Super, that independent play not working out so far in this grand final.
And Cowboy will reposition now with the Winchester in Collision's hands as well. Realizing that the pressure's coming on A, it's going to be a full rotate from the defenders as Roth with the M4 will find the kill on the Poker. Smoke grenades will be thrown out, and is that the signal to get a bit more aggressive as Wooly through the smoke will find the kill on the Roth? No HP, but Cowboy in the smoke from an inch away will send buckshot right into his face and gets close to the door. Marmalade might be the next player to taste the wrath of the Winchester, but Cowboy not going to get over aggressive just yet. The first few shots are there, and Cowboy does swing, and down falls Marm. Goddess now, the Cryptor in hand. The blue zone nade will be there, but Cowboy with the shotgun and a 3k. A flawless defensive half from Team Kickstart.
1 round away from getting themselves tantalizingly close to the glory of a victory here. Of course, we mentioned on the desk, Kickstart has won this Invitational previously, so he could become a 2-time and get 2,000 USD in the back pocket for his roster if they can lock this one out, moving on towards that offensive side. Super team struggle with that dearly here. The big thing for me is going to be the fact that he went so direct, trying to force your way in towards that defense. Everything set up around the objective. You have to try and clear the rest of this map. I don't think you can make this work on Mansion. You have to get your way into this map, clear this northern side, otherwise you're leaving yourself long corridors and tight angles to work with. It's not going to be a fun day in the office.
Not at all. And look at the lineup with it. So Wooly playing on the fence now, so there's a bit of a defensive change. Marmalade switching over to Zen, which gives you access to the grenade launcher, and it gives you access to that MK14. And you look at the utility usage, they're taking the barbed wire. So Goddess has both of her barbed wire sets down. Poker the same. Marmalade, though, keeping hers in pocket for now, as they've used all their barricades bar one. Actually, all barricades have been utilized by the defensive team. But Super cannot afford to fall first. That has been a big problem for this side. Whenever they lose the first kill, you're the first player, usually the Kickstart's team's able to take advantage of it, and Super steps on out through the breach, and he misses his shots onto Cowboy. Now, can he fall away? He runs the wrong way, but he runs into a corner.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Shut down that BZ, though. Might be good enough to find one. Gets a tick on towards Vrelo, and Wooly's going to be there to pick that one up with the M249. He's going to be the first to fall for his team, so leaving us now in a 4 versus 4. Goddess wounded. Poker's going to get Cowboy now slain off, and this looks like it's a very good, promising start for our defense. They have themselves on a 4 versus 3 advantage. At this stage, just sit still, just wait, just hold your crossfires. Utility-wise, they still have a lot to work with. Marmalade's got that grenade launcher in the back pocket. Poker, though, has used up both those BZs. HG sent out by Suppress, got S off the card, and now that might invite some pressure straight on towards B. Marmalade, the sole defender on that so far, stacked up, and, well, that smoke grenade might be enough to get this plant down. Looks like an aggressive play, trying to cause some chaos on the back lines. Wooly, Poker, final, one apiece, as leaves us all down the kickstart. The captain against 3, and in that smoke, it's going to be a matter of time till those shots whittle him down. And left on around 1 HP. One shot will be enough to slay him out. And he's stuck in a nightmare position. This crossfire should be perfect to shut him down. Wooly gets it done. And 1 round back for Super.
Well, but have we had a 3K in every single round in this map?
I believe we have.
Yeah, so players standing up tall in this one as we move to the final round in regulation. This is a big round for both of these sides. Will Team Super force overtime, or will Team Kickstart move on to the 4th map of the series, knowing that they can get the job done there and then? Defensive lineup the exact same, as people will stick to the same characters. But one thing I will point out is I've noticed this a few times, and it might be because of the game they normally play, but when some of these Super players get themselves down to low HP, they don't make moves to get over to the first aid kits that have been pre-placed by Super, which would allow them to get back up to full HP.
Okay, but I'm going to add a caveat to that one. Are they actually in good positions? Has Super actually put them somewhere effective?
Yeah, we'll say yes. We'll say yes. Well, you know, who are we to judge whether a position is good or not? We are mere casters, and these, of course, are the professional PUBG blind spot players.
Indeed they are. Listen, there's a reason that we're in the casting booth, and these guys are slugging it out here for the grand prize pool of 2,000 USD between these teams. And already, we're going to see some explosions happening out towards side. Super still playing somewhat independent away from his team. This time Poker a little bit closer, though, and has that ability for that trade.
Hines getting tons of information, clearing room by room, allowing these attackers to stack on up, as Roth will throw the first nade into that little closet room. Now, there's barbed wire in there. You can hear a little bit of an audio signal as they get closer and closer. Roth now right on the door to sight. Nades thrown deep, and that'll do a lot of damage onto Cowboy, who just about gets out of the radius, but no! Poker will find the kill. Marmalade with another. The defender starting things off strong. Now Goddess will fall back. Marmalade down to 1 HP, but Kickstart will step in through that bay window, using the display cabinet for some cover now. Rello with the decryptor in hand, but this is a big fight between Super and Roth, and Super takes damage from Rello as well. but manages to avoid falling in this fight. Whippet, it is a 3 versus 5, and this looks like it could be destined for overtime.
Overtime is calling this matchup, I guarantee it. It's going to be an act of desperation needed, and, well, this next pick needs to go this way. BZ Grenade goes out towards long hallway, but it's only going to make things a little bit more difficult for Kickstart. Shots fired out towards Wooly. Goddess pops up in the corner of that room, and Ruff does find one. Marmalade, though, calms things down. Kickstart's going to be next to go, and it's just going to be a cascade now as they hunt them down. The Wolfpack's there. Poker gets that final pick, and, well, Gibson, you mentioned it. Are we going to go overtime? Yes, we are. Overtime is here between these sides here on map number 3.
Off the back of another 3K Whippet, Marmalade this time picking up 3 on the round. As look at the scoreboard. 3 players on Team Super with 4 kills, and Goddess and Super with none apiece. Roth doing a lot of the heavy lifting for Team Kickstart with 6 kills on the game, 653 damage as well. Whippet, look at Wooly. Only 170 damage dealt total, but 4 kills. You know what you call that?
What is it?
A finisher. Gets the job done.
He very much has been able to do that, and the big thing here going into it is going to have that side swap. So moving on towards the defensive side, this is going to be where I'm going to say it's going to massively favour Kickstart's roster here. I just feel that the defense have been incredibly strong here on Mansion. There's not been a clear way to break it down here in North America, and they're struggling with that control stage, trying to get that appropriate amount of map control to make those executions stick. Now, hopefully, Super's team can break that curse and we can see an offensive victory here, but it just has been so strong for the defense. And already, actually, Gibson, I like what I'm seeing. The offense making maneuvers out towards Pillar, not going for the direct access plays that have been somewhat detrimental every single time.
And if you keep Super here on the backstab and he stays alive late into the round, it can have a big impact on this game. But as you can see, they're clearing the map room by room as they get towards columns, they get towards pillars, and all Super is doing is just garnering information. Suppress is doing the exact same. Suppress knows exactly where Super is as they attempt to get the kill through that window. But Super, just keep doing this. Just keep being a menace. Keep the defenders distracted while everybody else pushes from the other side. You've got 1 minute and 30, which is a long time to work with. And it looks like that these attackers up there are making very little noise as well. Up until I spot fight, Wooly is just sprinting around, giving those footsteps as much as he can. And Kickstart on the other side of the wall seems to be ready.
Ready with that one, hammer goes off, getting them towards that access, and Super's job right now is to just be a nuisance. That mosquito you can't find in your room, that's Super's job right now. Motion sensor goes out, trying to gather some information. Cowboy should be able to clear that one away and does so, and Super makes that decision to make a pivot away, diving out towards A, and Roth might be able to hear that as Super's going to be stuck behind these reinforced barricades. No easy point of avenue. Super somewhat stuck in an island, and Cowboy opting to not take that fight. That shotgun won't work at that range.
No, that range ain't good, and Cowboy is going to get caught running away, but stays inside the fight. But with damage dealt, Poker will find the opening kill. Marmalade, though, may fall at this blue zone nade. Just about Rello getting the kill. Nade thrown back in a bottle, but 25 seconds to go. Super's going to try to make a hero play, but Kickstart shuts it down. It's a 3 versus 4 now. Goddess will find a kill, and they get control of A. Blue zone nade's not going to go far enough, and Goddess will attempt to get the decryptor down with 10 seconds to go, and it's been planted, and all of a sudden, it's a 3v3 for the map win. Damage is dealt to Goddess, but not enough. Cowboy with the shotgun, not going to be able to get close enough just yet to find a kill. Opening up the barricade, but there's 22 seconds to work with. You can see Poker's going to get caught out by Rello, so the defenders taking advantage, but Goddess will stay prone, and Goddess with that M4 is a huge weapon in the hands of the defenders. Cowboy opening it up, Goddess finds a kill, but it's all down to Wooly on full HP. Wooly against the shotgun, Cowboy fires, but Rello's going to stick the diffuser. The decryptor's done, can he stop it? And he can. The defense will take the round, and that was a close close one, but it's going to be a map advantage now for Team Kickstart.
Oh, Kickstart find themselves one map away from glory and championship point, but oh my goodness, narrowest of margins. Wooly just needed one extra second and that round would have been wrapped up, but it would have been a different story. Super's team could have went into this with that one. Super, not today in the office. He would want to remember for his burgeoning career here in BLINDSPOT, but a flashback to his times in North American Rainbow Six, perhaps, as we get ready to wrap this one up, Gibby. I mean, listen, we have found ourselves in a very fun position as we get ready to maybe crown a champion here in the Invitational.
We may just do that, but let's see what the desk thinks about that one as PUBG ekes out into the lead again in the PUBG BLINDSPOT NA Invitational.
Cowboy, cowboy, cowboy. The young gunner doesn't disappoint. And he had a job to do, and that was to hold the line. He held it firm just in time to get that decrypt done. It's going to be toe for toe, I feel, yet again. Another round that the heavyweights are punching, and no one wants to give an inch, let alone a mile. 2-1 though for Kickstart here, Felix. Can they continue their momentum shift?
Heavy fought series thus far, and it goes the distance again in series number 3, or rather match number 3, as we just saw. Yeah, crazy turnarounds. I want to say it's come through what we were thinking from the very start. It's going to come down to individual prowess between these two teams, both super strategic, super individual. A lot of new stuff now happening in this matchup as well that we originally said was going to happen as well. So lots of creative new pushes and utility being used, especially impact grenades having a little bit of a comeback there in this match number 3 in particular. But I mean, honestly, same thing, same story as in the first 2 matches, right? Could have gone either way. I easily could have seen this go the way of Super as well, of some of these clutch scenarios. Even that last 2v1, maybe even Relo being taken down than the last player, even before it even happened and went down to a 2v1. If he would have gone down there, I'm pretty sure they would have lost that match as well. But either way, super competitive, exactly what we want to have for a grand final.
Do I really like, and I give Super's team the kudos where it's due. As I said, this the drive. They can gear up really quickly and go down. They can put on the fast feet, or they can really slow it down. But it has been highlighted, if Super goes down first, they struggle. They kind of need the shining light. They need the driving force leading the charge. If he goes down, I like the creative play. I like that he's moving his way around. He's trying to draw much attention, making loads of noise. It's just they've got to find a way that if he falls, can they still continue to go? But coming back to my original point here, Felix, they are able to overload. When they need to get active, they do really quickly. I don't think the Kickstart team has got an argument for that just yet. They are the kind of maps that I look at and go, oh, they didn't really deal with it as clean as they'd like.
Yeah, they just seem super composed when it really comes down to it, as you said, right? When they need to activate, they can activate, and ultimately that's what you need in a best-of-5 series with only, at max, 5 rounds being played per match, right? That's essentially nothing. You lose 1 or 2 rounds, it's almost done and dusted for that match already. And thus far, it seems like Kickstart and his guys have got a little bit of an advantage in that regard. They seem to close out the rounds they desperately need a little bit more consistently.
That's because they've got the belt underneath. Well, it's going to be match number 4. Potentially, we can crown ourselves a winner. Gibson and Whippet, over to you. Take it away.
Well, now it really is where the rubber meets the road, Whippet. This is where the grand final can be won. Team Kickstart take Warehouse B, and they will be your grand final champions. However, if Super Squad manage to win this one, we will see all 5 maps here in NA.
I would not be complaining about that in the slightest, Gibson. Not one bit. And well, can you believe it all? It's a European crew stacked up for North America. We're deep in the early hours of this one, and the passion is simply rising, Gibson. And it's time to lock this one out. Advantage is set up. And Gibby, can we get a championship crowned?
Well, we definitely will get one crown, but will it happen in this map is the question. And you said it's early. That's the right mindset. It's not late anymore. It's early. We've started off for Monday the right way.
Listen, when the numbers, when it goes from 3 to 4 in the morning, it's no longer late. It's early. So we're just early risers. We're on our grind set, just like the players here to try and find themselves a victory from it. Can Kickstart's roster get the job done? And as per tradition here on Warehouse B, it seems to be B as the main focal point for these teams. A 3-2 split, looking to get that that control. Heinz camera goes out, looks out towards connector, doesn't spot Super. This one will, and Super opts to fall back and not fight for that map control.
Yeah, Cowboy using 2 of those cameras so far. Wooly takes a lot of damage as the nades are going to get thrown this way. Falls back to sight, but it's a trade. Super finds Roth, but Kickstar did fall or get that kill at the hands of the nades. Super fleeing as Cowboy attempts to get the wall bang, but Super managing to get into some cover for now. Needs to get back to get some of his first aid kits off. That's a good breezy nade, forcing Kickstar back around the corner. Cowboy wants to move forward, but the barbed wire limiting his ability to push down this corridor without making too much noise as things stand. Poker, the MVP with the blue zone nades so far, trying to lock down B all by himself. Corner cleared as Super does get HP back, whip it, but Super and this next fight could be vital. Does he risk swinging out through the door, or does he hold the line?
The age-old motto with swing or be swung. Poker's able to find 1, and Kickstart's going to be a difficult position. Super shuts him down, finding 2. Poker's going to lock things out, now getting himself a second. Suppress going to be gone, and it's all down to Cowboy, now left in 1 versus 2. Now, this is still winnable. The case is cold, however, and will not be an easy day in the office. Oh, both members of the defense wounded. Cowboy has an opportunity here, 30 seconds left to go. Smoke grenade goes out. You can get recovery on this, and they have some live information. Poker reveals from this one. Cowboy's going to dive deep and find that pick. And now he's got enough time to maybe trying to get this case down. Marmalade very distant right now, but I think the opportunity might have passed, and the win condition might just be the play for the kill. Might try to bait this one out, and it's going to do that exactly. Looking for the right moment to go. Has to stick this now. Final 4 seconds. The Cryptor should go down. No, not enough time. Just can't get it done. And Marmalade will live to fight another day, and the opening round goes to the defense as Super's team gets 1 back.
He hummed and he had, and he didn't go to get the Decryptor down in time, and the defenders get away with 1 whip because that was really low HP for Marmalade. Cowboy would have been the favourite had that Decryptor gone down. But defenders win the first round, and we will now move to the second. If you are just joining us and you're come from maybe some other 5v5 games, this is a map where the sites are static. It will remain these 2 objectives during the course of the night. And if you are just joining us now, get over on Steam. Get the game and download it. The demo is available now. It's free to play to test it out. 2 different versions of the multiplayer are available. You've got great options there, and Whip It, if you really enjoy it.
You gotta get this sharp. You gotta get this one sharp. I'm sorry.
You want me to advertise the fact that we got a deathmatch and demolition mode?
There you go.
Which is what we're playing right now.
Right. You had to get that one, of course. And if you're interested in what you're seeing ahead of you, this is demolition game mode. Of course, wishlist this on Steam. Get all your live information for how things are going. Trust me, this has got everybody here in production absolutely hooked. I cannot wait to dive straight into a stack. Maybe after a little nap when we wrap things up after we crown a champion here at the Invitational. 3-2 split yet again here, and B will be the vocal point yet again. You really want to try and make this execution out towards B's dick.
Nah, you're not napping after this. You're going to the gym. The day started. It's a Monday morning. Woo!
Oh, I love Mondays.
I love Mondays. Nade's going to get tossed deep, though, clearing space, trying to clear that deployable sheet. Clear beside the containers as well, or the shelving, which is always good to do. That quad wall intact for now. The blue zone nade clearing that space, and it allows you to take control of the corridor. Now, Kickstart's going to sprint right on up close and personal as Wooly will start spraying with the AK. Blue zone nade does a little bit of damage, but no! Marmalade will manage to do some team damage. Poker and Super, though, will make up for it just a little bit as we go into a 3 versus 3. Blue zone nade tossed deep, and Rello will not manage to avoid it as Poker finds another one. And Poker now, the star of the show. Suppress. If you move towards that door, you're going to be in trouble. Poker finds another kill. It's 3 on the round for him, leaving it all down to Roth with a barbed wire there. Position is already revealed. He'll open up the wall, step on into sight, spots out Marmalade, but the 3 defenders are closing in on Roth's position now. You know you're in a 3v1. You can trade this one out.
I think Roth is fighting a hopeless battle at this stage, pinned by the gas grenade, the cover holding as well, and well, it is just going to be a matter of time. Goddess collects that final pick, leaving us now with a 2-0 advantage for Super's roster. They can claw this one back, Gibson. They are tantalizingly close to making us go all 5 maps in this grand final. We need something to happen quick. Kickstart's team needs to get themselves into overtime, otherwise we are going all the way to 5 here in our grand final.
Poker's my MVP. I think Poker this weekend has been phenomenal. Like, just the ability to understand the util of the game in such short notice has been incredible. What would I be exaggerating if I said Poker's getting at least 3 blue zone kills a map? At least.
I would say, at the bare minimum, was guaranteed 1 per map so far. Has been spectacularly good at doing so. The question is just going to be if they can utilize that to get things locked out here on the offense. Super moving away from Fnatic for what feels like the very first time in a long time, dawning on towards that Zen. MK14 and combination of that grenade launcher. That grenade launcher is fantastic because it somewhat acts as a very similar utility to the hammer on Carnival. You can launch it on those reinforced walls and it will clear them from a distance, meaning you don't have to leave yourself exposed for that melee range utility. And he'll get himself some access, looking to put some pressure on B early, and the rest of his team stacked up elsewhere. They eventually get themselves in.
Yeah, no usage of Fnatic at all, as you pointed out. And I think Super might be about to subscribe to the Church of the MK14 because that thing is a menace. Now, as they move through the container rooms, clearing it section by section, getting closer to A, they're just going to get information as to where the defenders are. Roth playing on the roam, as we've seen so far. Suppress getting information on Super's position, but of course, he's outside. He's just being a menace as things stand. Look at Goddess and Marmalade Whip it already knocking on the door of A, already becoming a bit of a problem. And Roth might now needs to hold the line because Cowboy takes a ton of damage. He can't fight this with a shotgun. He can't do the damage. He's too far away. Roth now might just hold the key to the round for the defenders, but Marmalade manages to cross. She steps back on over. Roth or Kickstart will get the kill. The BZ does a ton of damage, but look at Kickstart whip it. Oh, catches him. Poker absolutely annihilated. Roth swings the corner. This is going to be a round win for the defenders.
Defense domination is all left down to the Super captain of this team, all alone against 5. Yeah, it is going to be a very difficult one. Blue Zone chases him outside, and well, Super. Oh, goodness gracious. Second time we've seen Super pull that one off.
That time was on purpose, though. That time...
Or was it actually an intention to throw that through the door, realizing, well, beside me now, I may as well accept my fate.
Yeah, 1 HP, MK at the ready, just defenders flowing his way. He's like, yeah, let's just get into the next round. They have advantage. It is still map point for them. They just need to win this attack, and we will see the 5th map in the series. Cowboy picking up the shotgun with collision once more. That weapon does so much damage with it. It really does. But I'm looking, everything else seems par for the course. Like, it seems like in both regions, we've got pretty set lineups for the defense.
I think we're slowly seeing things form into, dare I say, the forbidden 4-letter word on a broadcast, but we're somewhat seeing a meta begin to shape up in terms of what utility that you can bring out. The flexible operators that we do tend to see is maybe Zen getting brought out, to see collision, especially on the defense. Cowboy has had fantastic utility with both that shotgun, even actually early on in the broadcast having success with those tripwire mines as well. Will we see this, though, be our final round? Will we see the side of Super's team lock this out and get themselves onto map number 5? Or is overtime just around the corner? Motion sensor deployed, hunting down Cowboy. He'll retreat from this for the time being. He can play in close proximity around these corners, around these door frames, where that shotgun might get maximum effect.
Suppress has essentially created a little bunker inside of Elbow as things stand by B, as Wooly will open up the door. Suppress steps out, takes a little bit of damage from Marmalade, and is forced now to run the other way. And Super and Poker will run from the other side. You can see Super creeping towards A on the far side of your screen, and Marmalade just keeping an eye for any potential flank. You can see that she has the motion detector off on that side, so really all you gotta do is focus on sight. Wooly takes a ton of damage from that BZ. But is your feed down?
Yes, so we will sit here.
Fatal error. I can actually cast off Super screen, though, if you like. Super got a kill on the Roth there now, Whippet, as our producer will look for a... Oh, I have to look at this way now, because I was looking at my other screen to see what was going on. But Whippet, as we wait for the observer to get back in, Super has walked right up inside of A, but Super's going to get killed by Cowboy. Are we doing a radio broadcast?
Yeah, you are. I don't have Super Stream up. This is all on you. You go radio. Gibson from the radio. Take us away.
Side angle Gibson. Wooly got the kill on the suppress. In case you're wondering, 3 attackers are just inside of B, but Kickstart will throw another impact nade and find a kill as we see an extension on out. But with it looks like we are going to overtime on this one. Marmalade, the last player alive, steps out from B, moving into cargo area towards A. The decryptor is cold, and it is going to be a round lost. We're going to overtime in this game, which means a very special thing, Whippet. That means that if this next round is won by Kickstart, they will be your grand final champions. If it's won by Team Super, we are going to the 5th map.
Yes, we are. So it looks like you're joining us for a radio broadcast to wrap things up here. You guys get to listen to Gibson's lovely face and see our tired European souls battle through what could be. Okay.
I'm fine.
Are you though? Are you though? Ah, here we go. Player POV.
Kickstart POV. Kickstart POV. Let's go.
Well,
so,
of course, you know what, Gibby? We get to dive into this one. It's going to be a very, very interesting respect to see this potentially final round of this tournament played out from that player POV.
Yeah, the only thing that could make this view better is if Kickstart's doggo was in the room.
Oh,
we get mouse cam.
There's a doggo?
Yeah, Kickstart's got a dog. Oh, Wicked. We got an ad for Wicked. Let's go. No. The round has begun, the Whippet, by the way. 2 minutes and 14 seconds to go.
We're back.
You can see we're so back, as you can see the attackers now crouch walking their way up. Remember, as you can see, the demo is available now. Super will look to be the front point of that defense, looking to meet the attackers on the way in. But Cowboy Whippet's just going to use one of the cameras and spot him out. Oh no, he's in the blind spot.
We can't see Super, and Super's going to play around this corner. He will hear all those footsteps, but are they ready for him? They spot him out. They can play an unfair numbers advantage. That's what they do. Rello shuts him down, and Super is first to fall. Disaster here now. Numeric advantage with Kickstar's team. The reigning, defending champions. Can they get themselves their second invitational title here? As the defense all stacked up by back storage out by A. Wooly decides it's going to be an action moment. Has to dive on and get control. Hammer from Roth gets some more line of sight even towards this Gibby. I think the defense in a little bit of deep trouble here.
Yeah, the nade thrown, the blue zone nade will do a lot of damage on the Rello as we get a triple stack of HEs, but nobody's going to fall off the back of it. This is a final stand for the defenders, and Goddess stands up. Poker the same. The advantage swinging, that pendulum going in favor of the defenders now as they look to force map 5. Goddess is taking some damage. Suppress should go into the POV in a second, but the MK hits harder, and Suppress will get the kill. Blue zone forcing Suppress close to the wall as Poker feeding that information, but Marmalade will fire through, gets a lot of damage onto Suppress, but that MK, remember, 2 quick taps from that could be the difference between life and death. Cowboy pushing on in, 30 seconds left. Wooly's going to get spotted, but Cowboy can't get the kill. Kickstart can, though, as it goes back to advantage attackers. Marmalade, all by herself, manages to get a kill. 20 seconds to go, but the smoke grenade is out. They're going to have to go to get the decryptor down. Marmalade rotating around, a spray through the wall. She's missing this by an inch. The decryptor's been planted, and Marmalade's got to do it all by herself. It is clutch or done in the grand finals. Suppress is there. The MK rings out. It's a 3K. And we have champions inside of North America. Team Kickstart, get it done.
They get that done for the pride of PUBG as well. Lock that one out. And they become your 2-time invitational champions. They get it done. But of course, while we might celebrate, of course, for this, we will say congratulations and thank you very much for Super's team for taking part in this event.
Yeah, massive thank you to Super and his team. They get themselves $1,500 for coming in second place, but for Kickstart, a 2K prize pool and bragging rights go their way. Let's welcome back in Mark and Falex to finish off the night. So we're going to make it quick because it is a late one. So we're going to go round for final thoughts, and I'm going to start at the far side of the screen, all the way over there. Falex, anything to say about Kickstart being your NA champions?
I mean, great from start to finish. I Didn't quite believe when we originally got into this final series, I gotta be honest, but ultimately I think the individual skill was just a bit too much for Super, and I think deservingly so. I think a lot of clutch scenarios going their way, and ultimately I think a great finals from both sides.
Yeah, Team Kickstart getting the win. Mark, we see a big stand-up for the PUBG faithful there as they managed to get that win as well, and honestly, it went right down to the wire. 4 maps, and it took overtime and back-to-back maps to separate the sides.
Back-to-back map. PUBG kicks it off and PUBG will end it. This biggest thing, Kickstarter obviously had an advantage, but I think the biggest advantage the guys had is they actually lost to Super to start with. They lost earlier on day number 1. I think that was a lesson learned. The guys dug deep. They was able to put out a win. This one was always going to go as close as it could do, but a really good roundup though, and a good show of skill for both of these teams.
It was indeed. But I'm not going to ask you for final thoughts because we got to hear you yap all the way through the game. I'm going to have you talk us through the final bracket and how we came to the conclusion of Kickstart being our champions once we get that graphic up on screen. Whip it was a series win for Kickstart, but what do you make of the day's action?
Well, it was a fun one, of course. Tiger Gaming with a dominant victory. Actually, both the results in everything from our quarterfinals and semis were a dominant result going into it. Of course, Super and Kickstart starting with that bye stage going into our semi-finals. K-Mind, a great performance against Terran. Unfortunately, couldn't find that success against Kickstart. Tiger Gaming, a great performance against Welps. He ran straight into the wall of Super's roster, and we found ourselves with a 3-1 victory as Kickstart. They looked fantastic here, and I think a great grand final to wrap things up from this event. And the big thing for me is the evolution of how teams were playing this. They slowly figured things out. Lineups became very similar at the end of it, and it was a tactician game at the end of it. Absolute chef's kiss for our grand final.
Kickstart, the 2-time champion now inside of North America. And it has come to the end of the night, so what we want to do is give a massive thank you to PUBG for allowing us to put on the show and inviting all these players. It was a lot of fun bringing you the action inside of EMEA and North America this weekend. If you enjoyed the game, if you liked watching it, well, I'm going to say it again, get on Steam, download the demo now, make sure and play it, get it on the wish list as well, because I'm sure that we, the people, can get a brilliant push behind a game that I've really enjoyed over the course of this week, because it is still just a demo. But finally, thank you to all the players as well. It's you guys that make events like this happen. But from all of us here inside the virtual studio, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all next time on the PUBG Blind Spot channel. Take care.